What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 2HW Chapter 36 Salvo, Warship Bombardment. Cardin Island. Whether it is Hagia City or the surrounding villages and towns, it is full of laughter and laughter. The salty and humid atmosphere brought by the sea breeze to the island does not seem to affect people's enthusiasm. Because today is the day when the new daimyo takes office in the country of water, the people are not happy for the new daimyo. But every time a new daimyo takes office, the first year's tax will be greatly reduced or even exempted. Place of joy. The exclusive port for nobles on Cardin Island is said to be exclusive port for nobles, but it was only used for the Hoshino family before, but after Akira Yagyu destroyed the Hoshino family, it was called Akira Yagyu's private port. Today, when the new daimyo of the Land of Water took office, this port was surrounded by countless marines who did not know when. Kitano Ichiro looked at Akira Yagyu's back. During these days of training, Akira Yagyu's tender body has also gained a lot of muscles. It seems that compared to the weak look before, it is much stronger now. Thinking that this was all his own growth, Kitano Ichiro was excited, and then looked at the well-equipped marine around. Kitano Ichiro was even more shocked. He didn't know where these people came from. Obviously His Highness has never been out, but there are always sergeants with serious military discipline who come to seek refuge. Is this all sent by the forces behind His Highness to help His Highness? Ichiro Kitano has no sense of belonging to the country of water. He used to be loyal to the daimyo only in the spirit of a samurai, but since he followed the unsuccessful Little Highness, he is truly convinced. Every decision of Akira Yagyu, every time whatever he did, he could be said to have fallen into the ground. What excites him even more, however, is that today, Akira Yagyu has summoned Marine to do something big. 3 heavy combat warships, 1 light warship, a total of 4 warships, just formed a formation. Kitano Ichiro looked at the 3 combat warships in front of him. As the heavy combat warships of the Vice Admiral level, each of them is larger than the light warships. After all, there are many giants in the Marine generals. No way. The outside of the hull is covered with a layer of black-brown metal armor, and countless gun barrels protrude around each ship. Kitano, you can go too. Akira Yagyu glanced at Ichiro Kitano, who was shaking with excitement, and said suddenly. "Ah, can I go?" Advertisement. When Kitano Ichiro heard this, he asked with surprise on his face. He had heard that the troops under the daimyo all had muskets and artillery, but it was the first time he had seen them used in war, not to mention the giant warships covered in metal. He wanted to see the power of these things. "Go if you want." Akira Yagyu nodded, and after speaking, she turned and walked towards the cage, and was carried by a few marines. Crocodile and Virgo left in the direction of the Lord's mansion. Although the marine warship is very heavy, its speed is not slow at all. It only took half a day to see the shadow of the main island of the Kingdom of the Sea. "Your Excellency T-Pen, here we are." Kitano Ichiro also became serious when he saw the shadow of the main island of the Land of the Sea, and immediately told T-Pen. Well, it seems that the daimyo of the country of the sea went to join the new daimyo of the country of water, and he did not forget to strengthen the domestic defense force. T-Pen put down the observation mirror, nodded, and said seriously. In the direction of the coastal port of the sea country, he found that there are many mercenaries patrolling there, including ninjas. "Ah, what shall we do then? Are we going to wait until it gets dark?" Kitano Ichiro was startled and asked quickly. "No, just attack." T-Pen grinned, and the zombie-like face was covered with a weird smile, which made Kitano Ichiro's back go cold. Under the command of T-Pen, the warship moved quickly towards the main island of the Kingdom of the Sea, and the speed did not decrease. At this moment, there are no ships in the port of the Land of the Sea. The large ports are prepared for the nobles of the Land of the Sea and the Land of Water. General merchant ships and fishing boats can only find some small ports to dock. Advertisement. Because the new daimyo of the Land of Water has taken office today, the daimyo of the Land of the Sea and most of the nobles are now congratulating in the Land of the Sea. If the nobles are not there, the port of the Land of the Sea will appear relatively empty. The mercenaries at the port also had a relatively leisurely life in recent days because there were no ships docked. A mercenary warrior looked at the seaboard, and suddenly found a group of ships. Look. The mercenary pulled up his companion in surprise, pointed to the black spot that was gradually getting bigger in the distance, and whispered. "Whatever you look at, it's just a few ships." The companion glanced at it, and immediately said disdainfully, and then continued to chat with others. Seeing the companion glanced at him and ignored it, the mercenary sighed, then picked up the observation mirror and looked in the direction of the black spot. It's okay not to look at it. This look made the hairs all over his body stand up. These don't seem to be fishing boats and merchant ships. Through the observation glass, he saw the appearance of those ships clearly and muttered to be born. His tone was suspicious. "It's not a merchant ship, it's not a fishing boat, could it be that the nobles are back?" The companion was still full of disdain, and he was a little dissatisfied with his true companion. "No, it's not coming back early. Yes, it's artillery, damn it, enemy attack, enemy attack." The mercenary was still holding the sight glass. As the warship approached quickly, the muzzle above was also clearly seen. Then, he saw that the muzzle trembled, a trace of hot smoke rose, and a pitch-black prototype shell shot towards flying over in his own direction. He immediately exclaimed in fright. Boom! A series of explosions drowned out the cry of the mercenary. A salvo from the 4 warships all landed in the port, and the entire port was instantly surrounded by the flames of the explosion. Asterisk. Chapter 37. Entering the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea. One round of salvo from the 4 warships, nearly 100 rounds of artillery shells almost blew up the entire port, and the roar came out for more than 10 kilometers. And the army and ninja hired by the sea country on the port were too late to react, and they were buried directly under the ruins of the port. Gudong. Watching a salvo, the entire port disappeared directly. Kitano Ichiro's chin fell to the ground, swallowed, and looked ahead in horror. He had guessed the power of the artillery fire on these warships, but he did not expect that he still underestimated the power of these warships. Get closer to the coast and lower the small boat. T-Pen looked at the battle results on the distant port, nodded with satisfaction, and then quickly ordered. After that, T-Pen noticed Kitano Ichiro's frightened appearance, and pouted his lips in disdain. This was actually frightening, you know, in Buster Call. It only takes 10 such heavy combat warships to blow up an island into ruins. After that, Ichiro Kitano, who was stunned, was ignored. After the warship stopped, T-Pen quickly jumped off the warship with a small team, landed on a small boat dropped below, and quickly landed on the shore. Ah, hey, wait for me. When Kitano Ichiro reacted, he found that in addition to the guard marine, T-Pen had already brought marine to land on the warship. He immediately shouted, and immediately jumped off the warship. A layer of chakra was attached to prevent him from sinking, and he ran to the shore. Watching Ichiro Kitano walking on the water, this time it was T-Pen's turn to be surprised. Originally, he thought that Ichiro Kitano was now demon fruit power and would send someone to hunt him down. He didn't expect people in this world to be able to do it. At this point, if demon fruit power has such a skill, where's the problem of not being able to swim? Seeing Ichiro Kitano chasing after him, T-Pen took marine to speed up. Thousands of marines, holding firearms, moved quickly in the direction of the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea, which was just seen from the observation deck of the warship mast. The explosion on the side of the port also immediately attracted the attention of other places. As soon as it hit the attention of the people in the capital of the country of the sea, the ninja in charge of the guard work immediately took action and rushed towards the source of the explosion. On the way, they saw a group of people wearing white uniforms. The person immediately blocked the other party's way. Are you intruders? Which country? Looking at the other party's uniform, marine uniform, Gaidang Wuyue immediately understood whether the other party was an enemy or friend, and asked aloud. He is a member of the Kirigakure Ghost Lamp clan. He originally thought of the defense mission of a country of the sea, so it would be fine to send a few chunins. Unexpectedly, the famous name of the country of the sea, Hyuen Baukisuke, repeatedly asked to dispatch jonin, which happened to be arranged for the elders in the clan. He was also drawn to experience it, but he did not expect to encounter someone attacking the country of the sea. After Gaidang Wuyue finished speaking, he quickly squeezed the handprints on his hands, and chakra condensed his hands. Advertisement, be careful, he's preparing for ninjutsu. Just as T-Pen was about to report his name, Ichiro Kitano, who was next to him, immediately called out a reminder. Kindness? T-Pen was stunned for a moment, and subconsciously looked at the other's hands. At this moment, Gaidang Wuyue has also completed the preparation of ninjutsu. Water-style water-iron cannon technique. As soon as Ghost Lamp Wuyu's voice fell, he immediately turned his hand into a pistol-like shape, and a stream of liquid was quickly shot out from his fingertips like a bullet. Seeing the water flow like a bullet, T-Pen didn't have hockey, so he didn't dare to fight hard. Shave. I saw T-Pen instantly disappear in place. And the water flow also passed through T-Pen's afterimage, shot into the bushes behind, and pierced through several big trees in a row. Escaped. Who are you guys? Seeing that T-Pen escaped his sneak attack, Gaidang Wuyue also felt a pity, but recalling the speed of T-Pen's outbreak just now made him feel shocked. The guy who can only sneak attack, you lost the chance to know our identity. T-Pen's icy voice came into his ears from behind Gaidang Wuyue, and at the same time, the cold blade fell on his neck, causing Gaidang Wuyue's complexion to suddenly change, turning a little pale. When will you? He didn't expect that the other party kept dodging his attacks, and even appeared behind him without even noticing it. Feeling the coolness on the neck, Gaidang Wuyue's face became extremely ugly. I'm from the Kirigakure Ghost Lamp clan, you. Humph. Advertisement. T-Pen snorted coldly. The sneak attack of the Ghost Lamp Wuyue just now made him very angry, and he didn't want to pay attention to the other party at all. Shish. The blade slid across the neck of Gaidang Wuyue, but there was not a trace of the imaginary snowflakes, and the blade passed directly through the neck of Gaidang Wuyue. At this moment, Ghost Lamp Wuyue looks like a mass of fluid. This is the secret hydration technique of the Ghost Lamp family, which can turn one's body into a liquid to avoid physical attacks. Water-style mist shinobi technique. Gaidang Wuyue didn't expect that the other party would ignore his identity at all, and also knew that he was not the opponent's opponent at all. Between T-Pen's stunned attack, a white mist quickly rose. Damn guy. Thinking of Kitano Ichiro's reminder just now, Gaidang Wuyue's face turned cold and quickly came behind Kitano Ichiro. Hydration technique. Hao Shui wrist technique. Under the reinforcement of the secret hydration technique of the Ghost Lamp family, the wrist of the Ghost Lamp Wuyue suddenly swelled, like a giant hammer smashing towards Kitano Ichiro's back. Waiting for you. Although Kitano Ichiro's own strength is not as strong as Virgo and the others, he is also a battle-hardened character. With the appearance of the Ghost Lamp Wuyue attack, Kitano Ichiro sneered, his right arm instantly turned into a sharp blade, and he suddenly swung his arm to the back. What? Guidang Wuyue did not expect that the other party was actually a guy with a bloodline limit, and was shocked again, so he had to give up the attack and quickly retreat. Found you. Hearing the voice of Guidang Wuyue, T-Pen quickly appeared on the side of Guidang Wuyue, kicked Guidang Wuyue's waist and kicked it out. The Ghost Lamp Wuyue fell heavily on the ground, and the internal organs in the body were tumbling, almost pouring out. Run. But at this moment, this is the only thought of Guidang Wuyue. Whether it is combat power or combat experience, he is not the opponent's opponent, and the other party has a guy who may have the bloodline limit, not to mention that he is injured now, he must hurry back to the capital of the sea country. Asterisk. Chapter 38 Defects of Devil Fruit. As Ghost Lantern Wuyue escaped, the white fog quickly dissipated, and the Marines all looked at T-Pen together. He should have fled back to the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea, let's catch up. T-Pen glanced ahead, and there was a trace of bloodline in the distance that he immediately noticed a little, and said in a low voice. After that, he immediately took a group of people and chased in the direction of the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea. After about an hour of traveling again, Kitano Ichiro and T-Pen came to the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea with 3,000 Marines. The country of the sea has a well-developed fishery, although it does not have its own army, and it has to pay tribute to the country of water to seek shelter, it still has spare capacity to develop its national strength. Standing outside the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea, Kitano Ichiro felt his insignificance, although he was not as small as the Kingdom of Water, as the capital of the country. The fortress with mountains and rocks like a city-state made one's scalp tingle, enough to make any attacker despair. Intruders. Who are you? On the city wall of the capital of the Sea Kingdom, the Kirigakure Ghost Lantern is standing there. There is a middle-aged man wearing a Kirigakure ninja forehead protector beside him. He looks more feminine, and his aura is stronger than that of the Ghost Lantern. No, it was this middle-aged man who spoke. The man's name is Guidang Shenyue. He is the nephew of 2nd Mizukage Ghost Lantern Wanyue, and the number 3 ruler of the Ghost Lantern clan. The strength of jonin and the secret ninjutsu of the Ghost Lantern clan make him an existence that cannot be underestimated in Kirigakure. At this moment, the Ghost Lamp Shenyue has a gloomy face, just like the idea of the Ghost Lamp Wuyue at the beginning. He never imagined that someone would actually attack the country of the sea when the country of water took office. Don't they care about the country of water at all attitude? But I didn't dare to guess. After getting the news that Guidang Wuyue brought back, the entire capital immediately became on alert. After all, this was already a war, and the number of people increased. Even if he was jonin accidentally, he would die. T-Pen Vice Admiral, that guy is very likely a jonin-level powerhouse. Looking at the family crest of Guidang Shenyue and Guidang Wuyue, Kitano Ichiro frowned and immediately speculated. Looking at the sea country and the capital of the country like a mountain in front of him, T-Pen's brows were also tightly together, and his face like a zombie looked extremely ugly. They came out with the intention of making a quick and decisive surprise attack. They didn't bring the siege artillery on the ship, but they were delayed by Guidang Wuyue. In addition, if the other party was really jonin, then they could hard to do. Advertisement. HMPH, it turns out that there are no ninjas. Wuyue, you were actually defeated by the samurai. His eyes swept down quickly, and no one answered him below. Guidang Shenyue was cold, and then he confirmed it immediately, and then taught Guidang Wuyue aloud. This, 2 people, the zombie face seems to be a strong physique, and the other samurai may be a guy who has the limit of steel escape and blood. Guidang Wuyue was said to be ashamed, pointing to the bottom and explaining. Steel escaped blood following the boundary? Capture him alive? Hearing Guidang Wuyue's report, Guidang Shenyue's expression changed slightly, looking at Ichiro Kitano below, and immediately began to calculate. Compared with other ninjas, those who have a bloodline limit are more rare, and they will basically be protected before they grow up. Today, I finally encountered one, so it is better to take it back and let it be studied in the village. He had done this kind of thing before, of course, but none of the ninjas who were brought back for research had ever appeared alive. As for the others, just kill them. Thinking of this, Guidang Shenyue's face became cruel. She quickly pinched her handprints, and the chakra in her body quickly began to transform. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. A water dragon with sharp teeth in its mouth, with a silent roar, quickly formed in front of the Ghost Lamp Shenyue, and then roared towards Kitano Ichiro. He had to clean up Kitano Ichiro first. Wait for this guy, goodbye, run away. There was a powerful impacting water current flowing on the water dragon. It was as thick as 3 people embracing it, and it was nearly 100 meters long. It was definitely beyond the power that ordinary chunin could unleash. Damn, it's really jonin, and the great name of the country of the sea actually invited jonin. Kitano Ichiro's face changed, but he didn't expect that he would really guess it. He has seen many people release the water dragon bomb technique, including a lot of chunin. This water dragon is much more than those released by chunin. With a terrifying aura, the water dragon rushed down from the city wall and roared towards Kitano Ichiro. Advertisement, damn. There were ordinary Marines behind, and Kitano Ichiro knew that he must not open too much, so he secretly cursed that his legs and arms had all turned into steel blades reflecting the sun. Drink. With a low voice, Kitano Ichiro stepped directly into the ground with his right foot and looked at the water dragon in front of him seriously. It seems to be really a steel escape. Looking at Kitano Ichiro's changes, Gaidong Shenyu's eyes lit up immediately. Boom. The water dragon directly hit Kitano Ichiro, and the powerful water flow instantly penetrated around Kitano Ichiro, engulfing Kitano Ichiro. The water continued to wash away Kitano Ichiro, but Kitano Ichiro was tired of dealing with it. The side effects of devil fruit made him unable to survive in the water. Strength. Boom. In the end, all the water dragons hit the ground, and once again a powerful force directly swept Kitano Ichiro out, landing heavily on the ground, and the ground was smashed into a pit. Are you dead? Gaidong Wuyue looked at Ichiro Kitano, opened his eyes wide, and murmured that although he was already chunin, this was the first time he had seen jonin take action during a mission. But if you don't die, you will be seriously injured. If you really die, then, Gaidong Shenyue looked at his masterpiece with satisfaction, and said with some pity, but as soon as he finished speaking, he saw Kitano Ichiro slowly getting up from the ground, and immediately swallowed the following words. How is this possible? The face of Gaidong Shenyue changed, and it was as ugly as eating a fly. Although the water dragon bomb is only a B-level ninjutsu, it has a bonus in this moist sea country, plus it is friendly to water ninjutsu. The Ghost Lamp family's bloodline secret technique, all of which he has triggered by chakra, is no less than a level ninjutsu. Even under hard resistance, he can still stand up. Chapter 39 Pacifists, Dispatch. Fortunately, I have been tempered by Lord Crocodile during this period of time, otherwise I might not be able to bear it. Kitano Ichiro slowly stood up from the ground without any substantial damage to his body, but the water all over his body made him still a little weak. General T-Pen, watch out for this guy. After getting up from the ground, Kitano Ichiro came to T-Pen's side and said solemnly, he was almost killed by just a B-rank ninjutsu. If it is a rank ninjutsu, it's not just them, maybe they bring the marine will be killed and wounded nearly half. He, pathetic weakling. Gaidong Shenyue also reacted, looking at marine below with a sneer. In his current opinion, these enemies who came to attack were just here to commit suicide. What should we do? Kitano Ichiro's face sank and asked in a low voice. T-Pen didn't answer, and his face was not very good looking. He didn't expect that the trouble he encountered here was more serious than he imagined. It seems that I can only use what His Highness gave me just in case. T-Pen looked at the heavy city wall ahead, as if he had made a decision. Kitano Ichiro was taken aback and looked at T-Pen in surprise. He didn't even know what magic weapon Akira Yagayu gave him. Pacifist PX2 out. T-Pen took out the phone bug from his arms and said something to it. Meanwhile, on the sea outside the port, T-Pen's adjutant immediately hung up the phone bug. Emergency communication. Open the hatch immediately. Release the Pacifist PX2. Open the hatch immediately. Release the Pacifist PX2. Repeat again. Open the hatch immediately. Release the Pacifist PX2. Done. As the adjutant's voice fell, the entire warship suddenly became lively, and all the Marines immediately put down what they were doing. The warship's cabin deck opened, the inner warehouse slowly rose, and a huge figure above it slowly rose on the deck. Drip drip drip. The Pacifists start, target, 15 kilometers to the southeast, set off immediately, and assist Colonel T-Pen. Advertisement, shish. The pacifist quickly jumped from the deck, and the powerful force pressed the bow of the ship down several meters, and the originally calm sea was also stirred up by waves. Boom. The ground in the distance trembled slightly, and the pacifist jumped 100 meters away, landed on the shore of the port, jumped up again, and jumped directly into the dense forest behind the port. Uncle, they seemed to be waiting for something. Looking at T-Pen below, they were not in a hurry to attack, but stood in place, which made Gui Deng Wuyue a little puzzled, and said quickly. Water-style water dragon triple play technique. Nodding, Gaidong Shenyu's ninjutsu has also been prepared. T-Pen and the others are not in a hurry to attack does not mean that he will also wait for each other. He snorted. This time 3 water dragons churned up in the moat under him. Each one has the same size as before. 3 water dragons sprang out of the water, with clear scales and claws and sharp teeth. Damn it. Seeing the 3 water dragons condensed with chakra between the ghosts and gods, Kitano Ichiro's face became extremely ugly. After that, he and T-Pen looked at each other as they jumped up from the ground and rushed towards the water dragon outside the city wall. The 3 water dragons quickly separated into 2 and rushed towards the 2 of them respectively, while the third one skipped the 2 and directly bit the ordinary marines standing together below. Damn it. Everyone spread out. Seeing the whereabouts of the water dragon, Ichiro Kitano and T-Pen's expressions changed again, but now they were both entangled by a water dragon, and T-Pen immediately roared and reminded. Although those marines have strong physical fitness, they are still ordinary people. Facing a water dragon with the power of a rank ninjutsu alone, if they are hit, they will definitely die. He. Do the weak still have temperaments and scruples about ordinary people? Gui Deng Shenyue sneered at the sight, and with cruel eyes, manipulated the water dragon to pounce on Marine. He could imagine that under the crushing of the water dragon, those Marines would be smashed into countless pieces. Shish. Boom. Advertisement with a roar. the huge figure of the pacifist rushed into the arena. DDDD, found a threatening attack and organized it immediately. From the perspective of the pacifist, a string of red prompts flashed, and the circular crosshair quickly locked the churning water dragon, and raised his right hand at the same time. Shish. Boom. The pacifist's palm quickly shot out a golden laser, instantly blasting the water dragon with claws and claws into the sky. So big. Who was that? The pacifist appeared, and quickly locked on the ninjutsu of Gaidong Shenyue, and then defeated it almost in an instant. Seeing the figure of the pacifist suddenly appearing on the field, Gaidong Wuyue immediately shouted in surprise. The pacifist was nearly 7 meters tall, 2 stories tall, and looked extremely terrifying. Even Gaidong Shenyue looked suspicious, looking at the huge body of the pacifist, guessing in his heart what method he had just used to defeat his ninjutsu. Who is this lord? Hit the water dragon again. Kitano Ichiro was knocked to the ground and failed to get up immediately, looking at the pacifist with the same look of surprise. The pacifist sent to me by His Royal Highness is not a human being, but a weapon of war. I thought it would be useless just in case, but I didn't expect it to be dispatched. T-Pen split the water dragon with a full blow. The impact of the subsequent water dragon made him not too happy. He fell to the ground, and when he heard Kitano Ichiro's question, he explained aloud. Pacifist PX2, take down the enemies above the city walls. After explaining, T-Pen issued another order to the pacifists. Pacifists. Combat weapons. When Kitano Ichiro heard the new term again, he completely forgot his situation and looked at the huge guy with a look of surprise. After receiving the order, the pacifist turned around and stared blankly at the tall and heavy city walls of the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea, suddenly opened his mouth, and a golden light lit up in his mouth. Chapter 40. Injury-free crushing. What's the matter? Stop him. Looking at the golden light that lit up in the mouth of the pacifist, Gaidong Shenyue suddenly looked like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Attack quickly, use a long-range attack to stop that guy. Ghost Light Wuyue hurriedly shouted. At the same time, the mercenaries and ninjas on the city wall all started to work. Arrows, kunai, and ninjutsu were quickly projected from the sky, and T-Pen and the others had long expected this, and directly picked up Kitano Ichiro on the ground and led Marine quickly. Get out of pacifist reach. Well, pacifist, will it be all right? Kitano Ichiro looked at the pacifist alone in the countless attacks, and immediately asked worriedly. Don't worry, we all die here, and it will be fine. T-Pen looked forward and said a word lightly, but Kitano Ichiro's eyes froze. What is this nonsense? In other words, is this humanoid guy not only powerful in attack, but also unparalleled in defense? Especially the ninjutsu that the pacifists defeated Gaidong Shenyue just now, there is no need to prepare at all. Such a big killer is not a human being, and it seems that it can still be mass-produced. Thinking of this, even if the pacifist is his side's killer, he can't help but feel a little scared. The strength of this thing definitely exceeds Shunin, especially compared to the cumbersome handprint of ninjutsu. It can be done without preparation. Unleashing an attack that is enough to defeat A-level ninjutsu easily is definitely an existence that can affect this world in the future. Thinking of this, Kitano Ichiro seemed to understand something again, and his expression suddenly became horrified. Perhaps His Highness's goal was not just the land of water. Because, even if he has such a big killer, he can't just limit his vision to the country of the sea. Thinking that His Royal Highness, who he followed, would disturb the balance between the 5 kingdoms in the future, Kitano Ichiro was excited again. Ding ding ding. Ding ding. Ding ding. Advertisement. The pacifist is nearly 7 meters tall, like a living target. All the attacks hit, but there is a crisp sound. The kunai arrows released by those manpower are like scratching an itch, and they can't affect the pacifist at all. Sense. Even the hired ninjas who released water-style ninjutsu were all blocked. Just when the mercenaries and ninjas in the land of the sea were terrified, the golden light from the pacifist's mouth finally spurted out. Buzz. There was a burst of air, and a golden beam of light shot out of the pacifist's mouth instantly, landing on the city wall of the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea in the blink of an eye. Boom. A large hole with a diameter of 10 meters exploded in the top of the city wall. On both sides of the big hole were mercenaries injured by the rubble charged by the explosion. There was constant mourning, and all the mercenaries standing directly above the big hole disappeared. The streets are also exposed. For a while, there was no other sound except the mourning of the wounded. Whether it was Kitano Ichiro or the guards from the Sea Kingdom, they were all silent, staring blankly at the destruction caused by the pacifists. Even T-Pen didn't expect this pacifist to be so powerful. Okay, so scary, there's no way to escape. The mercenaries looked at the big hole in the wall and said in horror, just now they just felt a golden light passing by before their eyes, and they didn't have time to react. It was estimated that it was in the blink of an eye. Everyone was a little sluggish, but the pacifist, like an emotionless killer, opened his mouth again. Damn, no. When Gaidong Shenyue saw that the pacifists didn't need to rest, she immediately prepared for a second attack. She roared loudly and rushed down. The guards were also alerted by Gaidong Shenyue's roar and hurriedly prepared to attack again. Ghost Dang Shenyue jumped down from the city wall and stood on the water. The chakra of the whole body was quickly pushed to the limit, and the fingerprints moved quickly, bringing out the afterimages. The chakra of Gui Dang Shenyue was driven up, and the 6 paths water column immediately rolled up in the moat under his feet, driving the water in the moat to rise into the sky, and then converge in the air. Gradually, the water level of the 4-meter-wide moat outside the capital dropped significantly by more than 1 meter. Water-style big waterfall technique. Buzz. Advertisement. The powerful force made the air tremble, and the water condensed in the sky seemed to be pulled open in an instant, like a flash flood, pouring down, like a waterfall falling from the sky. He raised his head, looked at the flood water pouring down from the sky, immediately cancelled the attack, crossed his arms in front of him, staggered his steps, and looked diagonally upward with the most perfect coping posture. Boom! The roar of the flood waterfall made those mercenaries look terrified. Without any hindrance, the flood waterfall fell smoothly, hitting the pacifists with a terrifying impact. The turbulent water splashes drowned the figures of the pacifists inside, and no one could see what was inside. The arrogant guy, who didn't hide, this time crushed you into pieces. Looking ahead, Guidong Shenyue was wearing the initial stage, urging the chakra of the whole body, so that his physical strength was also consumed a lot, but thinking of being able to defeat the opponent, then the rest is easy to solve. Buzz. Just when Guidong Shenyue was full of confidence, a golden light suddenly lit up in the waterfall in front of him. What? Guidong Shenyue was startled. A sense of unease rose in her heart, and she quickly picked it up and left the place. At the same time, a golden light rushed out of the waterfall and landed on the place where he had just fought. Boom! A roar, the impact of the explosion, aroused the river water in the moat to a height of tens of meters. Looking at the provoked water waves, Guidong Shenyue's back suddenly became cold, and all the bones in the body were trembling, if he hadn't avoided it. Before Guidong Shenyue had time to sigh, 2 golden lights burst out from the water curtain in front of her. Chapter 41 Unopened Marine Academy. What? Damn! Guidong Shenyue watched the golden light rush towards him, and suddenly widened his eyes and screamed, but he was in the midair jumping, and there was no place for him to take advantage of it. The 2 golden lights came one after another, making him unable to do it other reactions. With a silent wait, the golden light burst, and there was nowhere to see the ghost lamp Shenyue in the sky. Uncle. Seeing Guidong Shenyue disappear, although she couldn't believe it, Guidong Wuyu also knew that Guidong Shenyue was dead, and not even the scum left behind. At this time, Guidong Shenyue's great waterfall technique has also finished. Outside the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea, there is now stagnant water everywhere, and after the pacifist has undergone the great waterfall technique of Ghost Lamp Shenyue, his legs have been deeply inserted into the ground, and his arms and shoulders have been dented by the impact. There was also white smoke coming out of the neck and the joints of both arms. The golden laser was just released in the waterfall, which caused a lot of water to enter the system circuit board. Now there is a short circuit. To be on the safe side, T-Pen turned it off first. Ghost Lamp Shenyue has been killed by the pacifists by accident. In addition to a few rookies chunin, the rest are almost all genin and ordinary people in the capital of the Kingdom of the Sea. Kitano Ichiro can deal with it, not to mention, they also have several thousand well-equipped marines. Attack the capital of the country of the sea. T-Pen gave an order. Marine loaded all his bullets, rushed up, and jumped up the city wall 3 or 2 times through the big hole in the previous city wall. Swish. The sword light flashed, and the heads of the 2 Kurigakure ninjas who were pinching their handprints flew up, so frightened that the remaining ninjas suddenly stopped Yuyin's hands. Surrender without killing. Glancing at the terrified guards around, T-Pen said coldly. A long knife dripping blood, 2 heads with wide-eyed eyes at the feet, and T-Pen's special face, it looks like a Shinigami. The garrison in the capital of the country of the sea has been frightened by the pacifists. They have no idea that the pacifist is just a machine, and killed Jonin Ghost Lamp Shenyue. Where are they still in the mood to fight? Advertisement. In particular, it was noticed that after the marines led by T-Pen were equipped with a musket, they had no idea of fighting. Even the ninjas could not stop the bullets equipped with the musket. Now that I saw T-Pen's big deal on Kamui, there was no hope at all. Hearing T-Pen's words made those mercenaries suddenly depressed. Live or die, it's your choice. T-Pen stirred up 2 heads again, making the faces of the mercenaries present change again. We surrender. The mercenaries faced a life and death choice, and pride was finally defeated, and they all chose to survive. Run. The rest of the ninjas saw that there was no chance of any resistance, they glanced at each other, and all fled quickly. Most of the ninjas hired by the Kingdom of the Sea are Kurigakure's ninjas. Although the Kingdom of the Sea has hired them, it has not yet reached the point where they will die. Especially ninjas, every ninja is a precious combat power that cannot be lost. Even if they are captured by the opponent, they are very likely to suffer life rather than death. You must know that every ninja hides countless secrets, especially in terms of ninjutsu, one cannot easily be captured by foreign countries. Watching those ninjas escape, T-Pen didn't pursue them either. This time the guys all know the mist shinobi technique. T-Pen left Ichiro Kitano and an adjutant with 1,500 marines to guard the gate of the capital of the Sea Kingdom, while he took the remaining marines to the daimyo palace of the Sea Kingdom. Who are you? This is the palace of the daimyo, you should get out of here. The news that the city wall was broken has not yet been passed, and the guard outside the daiming palace saw T-Pen and immediately warned. However, it was 2 sword lights that answered them, and the 2 heads fell to the ground in an instant. The country of the sea will be under the jurisdiction of His Highness in the future. T-Pen filed into the daimyo palace with hundreds of marines, screaming and gunshots all over for a while. Advertisement. After that, T-Pen asked Kitano Ichiro to wear the rest of the army and took over Taro Island, Jiro Island and Strange Island one by one. In just one day, all the guards in the entire sea country were replaced by marine. Ding. Complete the mission. Create the beginning of peace. Get the task completion reward. CP9Q, Scientific Research Unit 1. Mission accomplished. Akira Yagyu, who was training, heard the prompt from the system, and his eyes suddenly lit up, and he came to the spirit. Ding. Get the Scientific Research Unit and unlock the Special Building Construction Permission, Marine Technology Center. Ding. Get the Scientific Research Unit and unlock the Special Building Construction Permission, Marine Information Reconnaissance Command Center. Ding. Get the Scientific Research Unit and unlock the Special Building Construction Permission, Marine Defense Cannon. Akira Yagyu didn't have time to react anymore, and then the system's prompts bombarded. Research troops. Special buildings are also unlocked. Akira Yagyu immediately turned on the special building system, and found that the special buildings with gray locks on them were now lit up. Of all the marine special buildings, the last one remains unselectable. Marine Academy. A special building, which can be recruited from outside the system after construction. It contains a full range of combat skills and combat skills. It specializes in cultivating marine generals. Within a week of learning, it will be forcibly bound to the host. Generates the desire to betray and cannot go against the host's wishes. Chapter 42 The Powerful CP9. Akira Yagyu fell silent immediately after watching the introduction about Marine Academy. If the Marine Academy can be built, it means that he can recruit directly to the world of Hokage. Originally, he was still depressed. Marine generals can only be obtained by relying on the General Recruitment Order. It turns out that they can be trained by themselves, and there is no need to be afraid of betrayal. In particular, the Aborigines in the Hokage world have chakra origins in their bodies, and they can practice chakra. If they can combine Marine 6 styles and Haki, they can definitely make up for the shortcomings of the physical strength of the people in the Hokage world. System. What are the construction conditions of Marine Academy? Akira Yagyu held her breath for a moment and asked immediately. Marine Academy construction requirements. 800.000.000, 800 million taels, unlocked after owning Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral or above. The system's voice sounded, giving Akira Yagyu a clear explanation. Vice Admiral rank General of Naval Headquarters. Akira Yagyu's face was stunned. This request is not too difficult. There are still quite a few Vice Admiral Generals in Naval Headquarters, but he has not yet recruited them. Although Virgo also won the prize in Marine, he is not regarded as a general in Naval Headquarters, but the base chief of the MARINEG 5 branch. Report to Your Highness, there are a group of people in black who call themselves CP9 and a scientific research team outside the door, asking to see His Highness. At this moment, a Marine ran in from the door and reported loudly towards Akira Yagyu. Here they come. Bring them here. Akira Yagyu's eyes lit up, and he nodded immediately to signal Marine to bring Lucci and the others. Before long, under the leadership of Marine, Rob Lucci and other 7 people formed the CP9 combat team and appeared in front of Akira Yagyu. CP9 has seen His Highness. Lucci brought everyone to Akira Yagyu, and immediately knelt down on one knee, lowered his head, and said respectfully and solemnly. Quote, Name. Rob Lucci. Name. None. Race. Human. Advertisement. Rank. Chief of CP9. Dao Strength. 4000. Ability. Cat Fruit Panther Form. Skills. Marine 6 Styles Advanced Marine 6 Styles Enhanced. Weapon. None. Quote. Name. Khalifa. Name. None. Race. Human. Rank. CP9 member. Dao Strength. 630. Ability. Bubble Fruit. Skills. Marine 6 Styles Advanced Marine 6 Styles Enhanced. Weapon. None. All members of CP9 have mastered Marine 6 styles, and they have improved and strengthened Marine 6 styles. If their Dao power exceeds 500, they can crush stones. Khalifa, which has the lowest Dao value in CP9, has 630 Dao, not to mention Khalifa's the main fighting method is the ability of Bubble Fruit, since you can imagine the horror of CP9 members. After the CP9 group, there was a group of people in white long coats. Everyone wore a pair of glasses, their hair was a little dazzling, and their eyes were full of desire for scientific inquiry. But to Akira Yagyu's disappointment, there doesn't seem to be a legendary scientific research genius, Vegapunk. Now that the Scientific Research Unit has been established, and the Marine Technology Center has been unlocked, he only needs to wait for T-Pen and Ichiro Kitano to return with the wealth of the Kingdom of the Sea and build it. Advertisement. At this moment, the daimyo of the Kingdom of the Sea and the ministers of the Kingdom of the Sea do not know that their country has been wrecked. The defending ceremony of the daimyo of the Kingdom of Water will last for 3 days. During these 3 days, they are all in the Kingdom of Water. Middle. Finally, it was time to defend the title. The defending ceremony was held in the capital city of Hitachi Island in the Land of Water. The ministers of the country and the nobles of the surrounding small affiliated countries were all present. Even the current name of the Land of Water, although he was dying, but still came to defend the title in person. However, as soon as the entire title defense started, a scream broke the calm of the title defense. Damn, how is that possible? Kaden, is Akira Yagyu crazy? I saw Heian Baokiji, the famous name of the Kingdom of the Sea, was holding a letter in his hand, his face was constantly changing, and his body was shaking with anger. Heian Baochisuke's voice was very similar, which directly attracted the attention of everyone in the entire venue, and even the coronation ceremony was stopped. The name of the Kingdom of the Sea, do you have any opinion? The famous name of the water country, Yagayu Nagata, looked at Fujiro Heian and asked in an old voice. Although he was in his old age, his voice still had the aura of a high-ranking person. Your Excellency Da Ming, you have to help me, the Kingdom of the Sea, fell. Hearing the voice of the great name of the Land of Water, Heian Baochisuke stood up directly from his position, rushed to the center of the venue, and said sadly with a trembling voice. What? As soon as Heian Baochisuke said these words, the audience suddenly burst into an uproar, and everyone's eyes widened, especially the nobles of the Land of the Sea. His country fell. What happened? The next daimyo on the side, Yagayu stood up too abruptly, and took the initiative to put on the crown of the guardian of the country of water, and then took advantage of the scepter in the daimyo's hand, and asked in a deep voice. It's the Lord of Carden Island, the Lord of Carden Island, he raided our country of the sea. Heian Baochisuke said sadly, before he set off, he was to prevent Akira Yagayu from suddenly attacking, and he specially invited jonin from Kurigakure, but he did not expect the country to fall. Akira Yagayu, a guy from a branch house, the last time I killed the Hoshino family, I didn't ask you to settle the account, and he actually dared to take advantage of my title defense ceremony. Yagayu Rentai's face darkened immediately, his eyes flashed, and he suddenly had an idea. Don't worry, although this is not the will of my country of water, but when the Lord of Kaden Island provoked chaos during my defending ceremony, then I will never stand by and watch, and will definitely take back the territory of the country of the sea. The Yagayu people are too determined. He wants to take this opportunity to reckon with the old and new, and by the way, he can expand the territory of the Kingdom of Water. When the time comes, he will take back the Kingdom of the Sea and return it to the Kingdom of the Sea. How much is it? What he said. Chapter 43 Marine Academy Recruitment, Twins. The atmosphere of Carden Island is still quiet, and no one knows what happened at the coronation ceremonies of the Kingdom of the Sea and the Kingdom of Water. However, early in the morning, all the people of Hygeia City were attracted by the movement outside the city. Oh my god, why are there so many troops? Are they holding muskets? Could it be that Your Excellency Dame came to our Carden Island in person? With the noise, the people quickly came to the streets of the city gate, watching T-Pen with thousands of well-equipped marines outside the city of Hygeia. Look, the Lord is coming out. At this time, the end of the street opposite the city gate. Akira Yagayu was sitting in the cage, being carried out by several burly marines. The lords have come out, maybe some big person really came. Seeing Akira Yagayu's figure, the people present immediately began to talk and speculate about what happened. The cage was carried under the city gate and lowered, Virgo opened the curtain from the outside, and Akira Yagayu stepped out. Salute, shish. T-Pen shouted. Kitano Ichiro and all the marines on the city wall saluted, making the blood of the people who had never seen such serious military discipline boiled over. Reporting to Your Highness, we have lived up to the trust and successfully included the Kingdom of the Sea as His Highness's territory, and all the 500,000 people on the 4 islands of the Kingdom of the Sea are all His Highness's people. T-Pen knelt down on one knee and reported in a loud voice. The voice spread throughout the gate of Hygeia City. In his hand, he also held the national emblem of the Kingdom of the Sea in the palace of the Kingdom of the Sea. 2 intersecting cracks were seen on it by the sword. Advertisement. Every country's daimyo palace has a national emblem, which is a symbol of the glory and existence of a country. The rupture of the national emblem and falling into the hands of the enemy represents the collapse of that country. Scare. What? Did I hear it right? It seems that the general said that the country of the sea has become the territory of the Lord. Shish, don't speak, the Lord hasn't spoken yet, we'll find out later. The surrounding people heard an uproar, and countless people began to discuss, and they all expressed that they didn't understand or dare not believe what T-Pen said, even if T-Pen had proof that the Kingdom of the Sea had fallen. Okay, welcome to Gaizan, the heroes who captured the Kingdom of the Sea. From now on, the sea transportation route between Kaden Island and the 4 islands of the Kingdom of the Sea will be opened. Carden Island and the islands of the Kingdom of the Sea will be under our protection and jurisdiction. Akira Yagayu nodded heavily, with a high voice. This time, it was clearly heard in the ears of the people, confirming their thoughts. Really, they captured the country of the sea. When did it happen? There is no news at all. When did they send troops? That's right. Could it be that the Kingdom of the Sea is at war with the Kingdom of Water, and we don't even know that the Lord is really too powerful? My god, he suddenly occupied the Kingdom of the Sea, like a dream. Yeah, the fishery in the land of the sea is much richer than that of our Carden Island. It is really as the Lord said, if you can go to the land of the sea for development, that would be great. The people of Hygeia City looked at Akira Yagayu, the original horror was completely replaced by excitement, and their eyes were full of admiration. My citizens of Hygeia City, have you seen it? These are the warriors of Cardin Island. They not only eliminated the evil Hoshino family, guarded the safety of Cardin Island, but also found a fertile territory for us. I think you all want to be such guardians. From now on, my lord's mansion will open the Marine Academy. All children who are 3 years old and under 16 years old can sign up to enter. If they can successfully graduate from the Marine Academy before the end of the 18th year, we will provide them with Marine General. Akira Yagayu paused, and with a seductive voice, said sentence by sentence, making the people of Hygeia City excited. Advertisement. Unlike the major ninja villages, ordinary people rarely have the right to receive education, especially in the islands on the border of the country. They basically only know the characters, and do not understand anything else. Now Akira Yagayu suddenly proposed the concept of Marine Academy. After graduation, he can become a general in the army. This makes the people not excited, and even more excited for the children from poor backgrounds. Lord, I have 2 children in my family, all of them meet the conditions. I want to register our children. NS, the 3 of us. Each of them is a burly boy. It's definitely no problem to be a commander of the army. Akira Yagayu's Marine Academy has not yet been built, but it will be too late to recruit students after the construction. It is better to recruit students in advance, and then the Marines will lead the training. This will also ensure that after the Marine Academy is really established, it can there are timely delivery of solid students to study. Now that CP9 has reported that everyone has mastered Marine 6 styles, it is not suitable for them to teach the recruited students in advance. Sir, there are 2 girls in our family, okay. When the people were eager to sign up, a timid voice suddenly came out. Looking at Zunsheng, there are 2 little girls about 12 or 13 years old with braids. They are a pair of identical twins, dressed simply. One of them is holding the other girl's arm, and there is hope and silk in his eyes. Uneasy, the cowardly voice just now should have come to this girl. Although the 2 girls are full of dust, it is not difficult to see through the bright eyes that the 2 little girls are definitely born beauty embryos. Shui, you, how did you come out? You are both girls, how can you be allowed to go to the army? It's better to get married when you grow up. Girls can't bear the hardships of the army. Besides, you 2 little devils have stolen a lot of our things. Lord's Academy won't want 2 thieves. Seeing the little girl, disdain and teasing voices suddenly came from the crowd. Chapter 44 Construction of Marine Technology Center. What thief? We borrowed it. If we become generals, we will exchange it for you. The girl at the head with a stubborn face, heard everyone's teasing, and immediately shouted and said. Just you. Do you still want to be a general? There has never been a female general, so don't think about it. The adults around didn't take the little girl's attitude seriously at all, they just thought the little girl's words were a bit ridiculous. His Royal Highness, these 2 little girls are said to be left by fleeing foreigners. They were originally taken in by an old woman, and they originally lived in the alley on the street outside the Lord's mansion. The sudden burst of coercion shock, the old woman did not survive, and now the 2 have become orphans. Ichiro Kitano has now returned to Akira Yagayu's side. The 2 little girls are now the only 2 people who have not moved out within a kilometer of the Lord's mansion, so Ichiro Kitano still knows a little bit about the 2 of them. When he said that, his face changed. Kind of weird. Not only him, but even Akira Yagayu's face was a little weird. He didn't expect that the last time he accidentally broke out Conqueror's Haki, he would cause a fatal accident. Girls can join Marine Academy too, but you 2 have to tell me first what your names are. Looking at the 2 little girls, the embarrassment on Akira Yagayu's face also flashed, nodded, and asked softly. The dignified voice before was really involuntarily gentle. Really, Lord, you won't lie to us. The timid little girl behind her suddenly lit up, and the more stubborn one also asked excitedly. The people around were even more surprised, and looked at Akira Yagayu suspiciously, thinking that he was joking, but he had never heard of a woman serving as a general. What's your name? Akira Yagayu glanced at the 2 of them, and without explaining, asked again. Ah, my name is Yu, and this is my sister, Shui. Advertisement. Hearing Akira Yagayu ask again, Yu Ma replied happily. No, my sister, my mother-in-law said I was my sister's. Shui, who had been timid next to her, heard that Yu called herself her sister, and immediately jumped out and retorted. Oh, you heard it wrong. Besides, you are so cowardly, how can you look like a sister? It must be me. No, my mother-in-law said that I am a sister, let me look at you, and don't want you to play with your temper. The 2 little girls seemed to have forgotten that there were thousands of people watching them, and they were arguing about who my sister was. Hey, have you 2 finished arguing? Are you not planning to enter the Marine Academy? Hearing the 2 little brats shouting there, Akira Yagayu also got a big head and said in a deep voice. The low voice made the people who were laughing at the back suddenly change their expressions, and immediately knelt down, and Yu and Shui also immediately silenced. Take the 2 of them back. T-Pen, you led someone to set up an admissions meeting platform in the central square, and the task of admissions will be handed over to you. Akira Yagayu rubbed his head, left a sentence and walked into the cage again. Yes. T-Pen responded immediately, followed Akira Yagayu's cage, and slowly entered the city, and those people, seeing that Akira Yagayu seemed really willing to recruit girls, immediately boiled again. Back at the Lord's mansion, Akira Yagyu came to the training ground on the 5th floor of the Marine base building. His Royal Highness, this is the wealth that T-Pen seized in the land of the sea. Please take a look at it. In addition, the pacifists have some malfunctions in the battle with the land of the sea. Maybe someone needs to fix it. Advertisement. Kitano Ichiro followed behind Akira Yagyu, and just entered the 5th floor. Seeing that Akira Yagyu was about to start training again, he quickly took out a booklet. The pacifist malfunctioning. Akira Yagyu was stunned for a moment. That game is a big killer, and if it fails, it will fail. The subordinates are incompetent. We met jonin of the Kurigakure Ghost Lamp clan in the land of the sea. The pacifists killed him, and we also had a short circuit. Kitano Ichiro immediately knelt down and reported with his head lowered. He didn't know what a short circuit meant, but T-Pen asked him to say so he didn't hesitate. I see, I know. Akira Yagyu nodded, but although the surface was calm, his heart couldn't help but feel a little surging. Jonin, he is a top fighting force in any village, and the jonins of all countries, even if they include special jonins, will definitely not exceed 3,000 people, was actually killed by a pacifist. For Akira Yagyu, such a victory is acceptable, not to mention that the pacifists are not scrapped. I just gave myself a scientific research unit for the mission of the Kingdom of the Sea, and now there is an account sent by Ichiro Kitano, and it should be possible to build the Marine Technology Center. Ding. Congratulations to host for winning silver tails. 5,242,760,000 first 144 tails. Host's current wealth value is 5.253.449.452, 5,253,449,452 tails. Only 5 billion. Akira Yagyu looked at the series of numbers reported by the system, but was a little disappointed. The sum of the treasury of the dignified sea country and the major nobles was only 5 times the wealth of the Hoshino family, which really disappointed him. But thinking about it is relieved. As a vassal of the water country, the country of the sea has to pay tribute to the country of water every year. This time, when the new daimyo is crowned, he must have also taken away the bad treasures. By the way, we will pay tribute. Build first. System, help me build a Marine Technology Center, a Marine Information Reconnaissance Command Center, and 200 Marine Defense Cannons. Chapter 45 Moon and Snow. The Marine Technology Center is a 5-story square high-rise building, which is covered with a layer of steel-like metal from the inside to the outside. The facilities inside are already at the level of ultra-modern technology, and everything is fully automatic. Although there are only 5 floors, but compared with the height of the Marine base building, it is not much lower. You must know that the Marine base building is nearly 100 meters high. Standing on the top floor, you can easily overlook the entire Hygeia city and even the sea outside Kaden Island. Obviously, each floor of the Marine Technology Center is more than 10 meters high. It was built by Akira Yagyu behind the Marine training camp. It is a corner of the Lord's mansion. After all, the scientific research team is all high-tech. If the explosion blows up the military camp and base, it will be over. As for the command center, it is also a giant building. There are 2 interactively rotating signal projection devices at the top. Although it is not as large as the Marine Technology Center, it is worthy of being a reconnaissance command center in terms of height. Even the Marine base building is lower than it. If it is less, it is right between the Marine training camp and the Marine base building, and the Marine base building will not block the radar signal. As for Akira Yagyu's 200 million defense cannons, they were evenly distributed by Akira Yagyu on several low hills and coastal cliffs outside Hygeia city. They are all 5 times the size of ordinary artillery, and if 200 cannons hit at the same time, even if the cage-level powerhouse is not dead, it will be seriously injured. After all, Akira Yagyu still cherishes his life, and the world war can only be pacified by ensuring his own safety. His Royal Highness, I have brought you. By the time Akira Yagyu exited the construction, Kitano Ichiro also appeared in front of Akira Yagyu with 2 cleansed and neatly dressed Yu and Yuki. Although he had seen Akira Yagyu's miraculous methods countless times, Kitano Ichiro couldn't help but feel a little shocked when he noticed the 2 extra giant buildings outside. There were 2 more big guys with a height of 100 meters so silently, Kitano Ichiro could only try to keep himself calm, and make himself believe that as long as it has something to do with His Highness, even if the sky falls, don't panic. Akira Yagyu retracted his gaze and landed on the 2 little girls behind him. After some familiarity, they changed into clean clothes, and Akira Yagyu saw their true faces. It's 2 beauties, not worse than the little princess of the Iron Country. Next to Akira Yagyu, Ichiro Kitano looked at Akira Yagyu and looked at the 2 of them, and immediately winked at Akira Yagyu. Originally, he wondered why Akira Yagyu brought the 2 back. The appearance of Akira Yagyu is even more admirable. It turns out that Akira Yagyu has long seen the faces of the 2 under the dust. Crocodile, take this guy to training. Akira Yagyu rolled her eyes at Kitano Ichiro, and gave Crocodile a wink. Oh, I understand. Advertisement. Crocodile smiled and took Kitano Ichiro away. When he left, he didn't forget to wink Akira Yagyu, which made Akira Yagyu even more speechless. Which of you is the moon and which is the snow? Although the difference in personality between the two was obvious at a glance, Akira Yagiyu's face was even more strange, because through observation haki, he sensed the breath of the two and found that the two had exactly the same breath. You must know that everyone has their own breath, but these two little devils actually have the same breath. I'm you, Lord. You were so handsome when you were at the gate of the city. I'm Shui. Hello, Lord. You didn't recognize her at all. Her voice was loud, while Shui was still timid. How old are you? Nodding his head, Akira Yagiyu continued to ask. He is not a lowly control, but the two little girls are really cute. He frowned and asked. 12. Yu and Shui answered at the same time, and Yu's voice completely covered Shui's answer. Okay. 6 years left. Lu Qi, come here. Nodding his head again, Akira Yagiyu retracted his gaze, and suddenly called out to Lu Qi who was training on the training ground in the distance. Hearing Akira Yagiyu calling himself, Lu Qi's body froze and disappeared instantly. Your Highness. The next second, Luigi appeared in front of Akira Yagiyu. I'll give you the best teachers, and if you don't graduate from Marine College in 6 years, then pack your things and get out. Advertisement. They'll leave it to you to help me develop the limits of their bodies. Akira Yagiyu retracted his gaze, suddenly became cold, and his tone became more serious than before. If the two didn't speak, Akira Yagiyu didn't know what the senior would be like, but his junior observation haki couldn't tell the difference between the two, and even the two made him feel more like one person. Understood. Please rest assured, Your Highness. Lu Qi was next to him. He also noticed the change in Akira Yagiyu's face, guessing in his heart that the two little ghosts might have some secrets, and nodded seriously Kaido. Wait, my lord, you haven't told us how to graduate. Seeing Akira Yagiyu leaving, Yu immediately stopped Akira Yagiyu and asked out of curiosity. You don't have to know yet. Akira Yagiyu seemed to know that they would ask such a question, and said without looking back. Lord is not cute at all. Uncle, you are so handsome, what do you like to eat? Don't get me wrong. You are too old. I like Lord. Are you the bodyguard of Lord? You know what he likes to eat. Yu looked at Akira Yagiyu's back, glanced at his mouth, and then immediately looked at Lu Qi. A series of inquiries made Lu Qi's face darken, and he was actually molested by a little lowly. Moon. Shui noticed that Lu Qi's face became gloomy, as if he was going to be angry, and quickly pulled Yu's sleeves and whispered. Come with me. Lu Qi glanced at the two of them, and found that he couldn't tell the difference between them at all. His eyes moved, and he said indifferently. After speaking, he turned around and walked towards the others. Chapter 46 Girl Genius. Add more. Cardin Island, in the Lord's Palace. Akira Yagiyu welcomed a guest from the capital city of the water country early in the morning. Your Highness. Seeing Akira Yagiyu coming out, Shiba C quickly shouted respectfully. Although only 20 days have passed, Shiba C's sense of Akira Yagiyu is different at this moment. Anything. Akira Yagiyu looked at Shiba C and asked lightly, very straightforward, without saying a word. Your Highness, Daimyo has passed away. What Shibahai said was a little sad. He had followed the daimyo for decades, and the daimyo passed away. Of course, his current life is not very good. Anything else? Akira Yagiyu continued to ask, although his body is the heir of a daimyo, but he has never seen that daimyo a few times. Apart from lamenting that a country's daimyo cannot escape the obliteration of age, he has no other feelings at all. When the new daimyo took office, he was furious at His Highness's capture of the Kingdom of the Sea, and now he is dispatching troops to attack His Highness. Although he was a little sad about the death of the boss, Shiba Hai knew that his life was still in the hands of this highness, so he said immediately. How many people? Akira Yagiyu looked at Kianyahai and asked. It is estimated that 100,000 sergeants may also participate in the ninja family at that time. As for which family, the minister does not know. Facing Akira Yagiyu's questioning, Shiba C said quickly without the slightest idea of deception, and then stood aside in fear. 100,000 troops, and the ninja family are involved. This can definitely deal with any effect in the surrounding area, but all of them are used to deal with Cardin Island. You must know that the Kingdom of the Sea was captured so quickly. The big reason is that the Kingdom of the Sea does not have its own troops. In Shiba Hai's view, they are now grasshoppers on a rope. If Akira Yagiyu can't stop the crusade against the land of water, then he will definitely not survive. He doesn't think Akira Yagiyu will be destroyed, and the heart thinks of him and detoxifies him. Okay, I understand, you can go back. Akira Yagiyu thought for a moment, nodded, and then motioned Kitano Ichiro to hand Shiba Kai a phone bug. Advertisement. This is. The phone bug landed on his hand, it was cold and soft, and Shiba Hai's hair stood up, but he didn't dare to throw it away, and asked Akira Yagiyu carefully. This is a phone bug. My number is stored on it. You don't have to write letters in the future, and you don't have to come here. Just pass it directly if you have something. Akira Yagiyu also took out a phone bug, and in Shiba Hai's surprised eyes, the phone bug in his hand immediately imitated Akira Yagiyu's exact same expression and voice, and transmitted it simultaneously. Ah, Your Excellency knows. Shiba Hai suppressed the horror in his heart, looking at the phone bug at the moment, there was still a little bit of disgust, he carefully put it into his arms, and withdrew respectfully. Your Highness, the army of 100,000 people in the land of water. When Shiba C left, Kitano Ichiro said immediately. What? Coward again? Akira Yagyu understood Kitano Ichiro's concerns, and immediately asked with a teasing. No no no, Kitano is willing to go through fire and water for his highness. Kitano Ichiro immediately knelt on the ground and said solemnly. Okay, get up, I know you're loyal, how's your exercise these days? Would you like to play 2 tricks with me? Akira Yagyu looked at Ichiro Kitano. He also wanted to try his own strength, except that T-Pen was still recruiting Marine Academy on Hygeia City Square, and only Ichiro Kitano was estimated to be equivalent to his own strength. Do it with your highness. Your highness, aren't you embarrassing me? Kitano Ichiro heard that Akira Yagyu was going to fight him, and immediately said with a wry smile. Akira Yagyu sighed, and Ichiro Kitano was fine with everything, but he respected himself too much, and he didn't even dare to practice with himself. Lord, please save us, that handsome uncle is a lunatic. At this time, outside the office, Xiao Luoyu's voice sounded from outside, causing Akira Yagyu to frown. Little devil, what's the matter with you? Didn't I tell you not to disturb your highness if you have nothing to do? Advertisement. Seeing Akira Yagyu, Kitano Ichiro hurriedly opened the door and said in a deep voice. Wow, I want to see Lord, that handsome uncle is a pervert, he bullies us, he makes me run non-stop every day, and also makes me and my sister go catch sharks. Moon did not answer Kitano Ichiro, but missed Kitano Ichiro and came to Akira Yagyu crying and complaining. I told you, I'm my sister. People arrived first, and Shui's voice came from outside the door. Compared with before, he was not so timid. Grown-ups, you didn't seem to hear Shui's words, just looked at Akira Yagyu pitifully. At this time, Lu Qi also walked in from the door, looking at the 2 little girls, especially you, it seemed to have some headaches. Lu Qi, what's going on? Akira Yagyu also looked at Lu Qi with a headache. Originally, she took them to the Lord's mansion out of curiosity about the identity of the 2 little girls. I didn't expect that these 2 little girls, especially when the first month of the month came, was like taking Marine. The base building and the Lord's mansion caused a lot of trouble. Your Highness, Lu Qi looked a little weird, and some didn't know how to start. If you can't teach them, then send them away. Akira Yagyu frowned when he saw Lu Qi's reaction. Although he didn't know why the little girl who had only been here for a few days was assigned such a dangerous mission by Lu Qi, he still said in a deep voice that he would not let the 2 little ghosts influence him. To your own plan. It's not His Highness, it's the 2 of them. Lu Qi's face was a little cloudy. Both of them are geniuses. Lu Qi paused for a moment and finally spoke. Genius. Akira Yagyu was stunned for a moment, and looked at the 2 of them with strange eyes. Lu Qi can call him a genius, but not everyone can do it. Chapter 47 Auto-generated chapter title. The 47th chapter analyzes and deciphers pacifists. Hearing that Lu Qi called the 2 little girls geniuses, Kitano Ichiro immediately stuck his head out of curiosity. I found that the 2 of them, whether it was the Marine 6 styles comprehension, or the speed and strength of physical exercise, or the chakra comprehension that Kitano Ichiro gave them, were twice as good as ordinary people. Glancing at the 2 of them, Lu Qi said solemnly. Because none of us are good at ninjutsu, I'm not sure if there is a superhuman aspect in the 2-man ninjutsu as well. Lu Qi paused for a while and continued, hearing Akira Yagyu and Kitano Ichiro's faces also become solemn. Double the training speed, double the recovery ability, double the comprehension ability, maybe release the ninjutsu and double the explosive power, which has definitely exceeded the limit of 1 + 1 = 2. Kitano Ichiro's mouth widened when he heard it. These 2 little girls had never cultivated before. If they had started cultivating since they were young, if they continued to develop at this momentum, they would definitely be chunin now. Such a physique is definitely not an ordinary family. Perhaps, it has something to do with their family. After thinking for a while, Kitano Ichiro said the guess in his heart. Wait, did your highness want them in the first place? Kitano Ichiro thought that Akira Yagyu had let them come to the Lord's mansion without investigating their identities at all. Maybe he had discovered their special physique in the first place. Yes, I decided to take them in because I couldn't see through them. They must have some secrets. Akira Yagyu looked at the 2 of them, nodded and said softly. He had never heard of this miraculous physique, perhaps because it was exterminated too early. There are quite a few ethnic groups that have lost all clues because they were exterminated, but I don't know if the ethnic group behind the 2 little girls still exists. But being able to throw the 2 of them away is the same as those of the disappearing families. After all, judging from the training speed of the 2 little girls, their bloodlines are too pervert, and no ninja village in any country will allow such a family to exist. Even, the little girl's family has been hunted down by various countries since ancient times. Of course, all of this is just speculation by Akira Yagyu. If you really want to know the identities of the 2, you might go to the country of iron with the longest history in the future. Advertisement. Take them away first, you can train as you like, don't train to death. Finally, looking at the 2 again, Akira Yagyu continued. After that, Akira Yagyu walked out directly, leaving the 2 little girls alone to be carried out by Lu Qi for training. Your Highness, will taking in those 2 little devils cause unnecessary trouble? Walking out the door, Kitano Ichiro asked worriedly. Unnecessary trouble. Do you think it's more troublesome to be the enemy of the whole world? Hearing Kitano Ichiro's concern, Akira Yagyu said with a smile and a little sigh. And Kitano Ichiro was also left in place by Akira Yagyu's words. Your Highness, do you really want to? Kitano Ichiro finally stopped cowardly this time, but asked excitedly. After so long, he finally guessed what Akira Yagyu thought. Akira Yagyu didn't say much, but walked out of the Marine Base building and came to the Marine Technology Center. He has been to the Marine Information Reconnaissance Command Center once. There is a screen that displays the bioenergy signals in the 10 kilometers of the sea around Kaden Island. According to the strength of the response of various bioelectromagnetic signals, it can distinguish human beings from other creatures, and distinguish human beings from other creatures. Mark it out. As for the Marine Technology Center, he had never been there once. As soon as he entered the door, he saw a group of researchers in white clothes conducting maintenance research on the pacifists who had short-circuited before. Your Highness. As soon as they entered the door, Jean Lyle, headed by this scientific research team, came up to greet him. When the others heard the movement, they all stopped and saluted Akira Yagyu. The others continue first. Akira Yagyu waved and turned to look at Jean Lyle. How's it going? Akira Yagyu asked slowly after glancing at the pacifist. Reporting to Your Highness, for this pacifist, we are already starting to improve, and there has been a large degree of saving and strengthening in terms of materials. Advertisement. In about half a month, we can find out how to make it. Lyle replied with confidence, pointing to the pacifist who was being reassembled behind him, and said proudly. Half a month. It's too long. I'll give you 3 more days. In 3 days, I want you to give me a satisfactory result. Hearing Lyle's report, Akira Yagyu frowned, and he was not satisfied with the time given by Lyle. In addition to unlocking the current technology level of Marine and providing scientific research, the Marine Technology Center also has an important function, that is, as the research and analysis of the products in the Marine Mall deepen, the prices of the products in the Marine Mall can be lowered according to the research level. Akira Yagyu knows that the cost of a pacifist in the pirate world is only 300 million here. For better understanding, the currency value ratio of the two worlds is 1. 3 days. Lyle was taken aback. Can't you do it? Akira Yagyu glanced and asked lightly. Your Highness, you should kill us. Lyle said with a bitter face, although there are pacifists who can disassemble and analyze, but this thing is too big. 3 days, it will take 2 days to reorganize. A week. Akira Yagyu also knew that he was pushing too hard, so he took a few days of grace. Let's do our best. Nodding his head, Lyle responded and hurriedly threw himself into the research. Everyone speeded up and got busy. His Royal Highness, how do you know that they can do it in half a month? Ichiro Kitano, who was next to him, immediately raised his head and asked curiously. I don't know, I guess, try to cheat him. Chapter 48. The Infinite Tempest Kicks Horror. Carden Island, the recruitment of Hygeia City has been completed, and T-Pen led people to the 4 islands of the country of the sea for recruitment. Report, sir, according to the radar detection system, there are a bunch of scattered humanoid signals coming towards Carden Island on the sea. Marine Radar Information Reconnaissance Command Center, a Marine suddenly reported, pointing to the enlarged blue sea area on the screen. A string of about a dozen red dots are rapidly approaching Kaden Island, and the approaching target is not Hygeia the city port, but the 2 cliffs facing the sea that are not guarded by Marine. The 4 islands of the Kingdom of the Sea are located in the southeast of the Kingdom of Water, just separated from the Kingdom of the Sea by Carden Island. If the Kingdom of Water wants to rescue the Kingdom of the Sea, it must first break the Carden Island, otherwise it will be blocked by Carden Island. Supplies, it doesn't matter how many soldiers go. Therefore, the water country first pinned its target on Carden Island. Outside of Carden Island, a group of 16 ninjas scurried through the sea. After reaching the coast, everyone quickly got into the jungle without hesitation. Everyone, be careful, I heard that even jonin died here. Everyone be careful, our mission is not to attack this place. After infiltrating the city, we will first find a place to hide, and when the daimyo's army arrives, we will start to cause agitation from the inside. Quote. The head of the jonin suddenly stopped, turned around seriously and said to the 15 shunins behind him. The others did not speak, but all nodded solemnly, and then stood in place, quickly changed their ninja suits, and prepared a set of ordinary people's coarse cloth in the tactical package of each person next to them. Do you know that changing clothes in front of a girl is a hooligan act? Suddenly, a woman's coquettish voice came from the forest in the distance, causing the ninjas to move. It's not good, it was discovered, and quickly fight to solve the opponent. The headed jonin arranged a sentence in a low voice, everyone quickly dispersed, and then looked at the ground, except for the clothes, there was no one else. Tempest kick. Swish. With an indifferent low voice, a storm of wind shot out from a distance, directly severing a tree that was hugged by the 2 of them, and a chunin hidden behind was instantly cut in half, and blood spread on the ground. The tree fell and hit the ground, startling the resting birds in the forest. Is it Sand Shinobi's wind style? Sure enough, the Lord of Carden Island colluded with Sunagaker. Seeing Feng land just now, jonin, who was headed by him, was startled, and what worried him even more was that they hadn't seen each other yet. Advertisement. However, The CP9 people didn't ask them to look for more, and saw Kaku alone coming to the place where the people just stood. Big-hearted guy. One of the ninjas woke up from the shock of the death of his companion just now, sneered, quickly pinched his handprints, and at the same time his arm also hit the bushes around him, making bursts of noise. Idiot. Jonin, who was hiding, noticed Shunin's movements, his face turned cold, and he cursed. Tempest kick. Sure enough, from the other side, the previous voice sounded again, and a wind swept the air towards the ninja. What? Damn. Water-style water dragon bomb. That Shunin was extremely terrified. After speaking, a water dragon with a thickness of only half a meter formed and slammed into Feng Lan. Boom. Feng Lan and Shui Long shattered and dissipated. Call. Seeing that Feng Lan disappeared, that Shunin quickly breathed a sigh of relief. Be careful. Suddenly, the sound of a companion's prompt came from the other side of him, and Kaku in the middle had already jumped up in the air and was looking in his direction. Tempest kick Bailey. Tempest kick shuriken. A huge arc tempest kick rushed towards the ninja. Advertisement. Damn, run. That Shunin noticed Kaku's indifferent eyes, his face changed suddenly, and he turned and fled back. However, the speed of Tempest kick has exceeded his escape speed, and the arc-shaped Tempest kick slid smoothly over him, and then hit the ground and trees, making a roar. Another blow, Tempest kick, rushed to the position of the voice just reminded. The hidden ninja there saw all this and reacted immediately, but it was too late to escape. The large Tempest kick impacted the trees and rocks including him, are directly chewed. 3 ninjas died in just one encounter, and the surroundings became quiet again. The enemy ninjas didn't dare to make any further movements, and everyone was quietly waiting for the other party to reveal the slightest flaw. Kaku fell back to the ground and glanced around. In this dense forest, even the perching birds have flown away, the surrounding is terrifyingly quiet, and there is murder everywhere. I saw Kaku still standing in the center, but his body suddenly changed. Long, giraffe. The ninjas hiding in the shadows all stared blankly at Kaku, who had suddenly changed his appearance, and their eyes were full of wonder. After Kaku turned into a giraffe, he suddenly shrank to the ground and stretched his limbs outside. Tempest kick Joe foot. What? Damn it, get on the defensive. Seeing that posture, I don't know who exclaimed, everyone quickly ran chakra with all their strength, using their fastest speed of printing. Water-style water shield. Columns of round shields quickly formed in front of each ninja. And this is the Tempest kick of the rear. Kaku has also started. I saw Kaku swinging and rotating from the thick and long neck, as if there is no consumption. Countless Tempest kicks rushed out of the limbs, without any pause, continuously rushing towards all around. After countless grass and trees were cut in half, they were cut into pieces by the follow-up Tempest kick. The roaring sound of the big tree falling up continuously resounded in the forest. The wooden branches splashed. How could the emergency water shield be so densely packed with Tempest kick? Immediately someone was not capable enough. The water shield failed to block Kaku's Tempest kick. The bright red blood flowers and screams were mixed in the wooden branches. When Kaku's Tempest kick was over, 100 meters in a radius had already been cleared into an open space, and the other 16 endured it. At this moment, only the last one, Jonin, was left with a column of ice shield standing in front of him. Asterisk. Chapter 49. Terrible Cardin Island. Yes, damn it. Glancing at the surroundings, all the companions who had followed him had disappeared, and the Jonin had an extremely ugly face, and murmured in a low voice. Damn, unforgivable guy. Afterwards, the sadness on Jonin's face disappeared, and immediately after the ice wall, he began to pinch his handprints. Suddenly, behind him, a round window seemed to appear out of thin air, and then a pair of hands quickly rushed out of it. Finger pistol. I saw Bluno's fingers close together, like a long spear stabbing at a rapid pace, with a lingering breath, as if turning into a hungry wolf, tearing the air apart. What? Damn. That Jonin was surprised, he didn't expect that someone would come around, and he quickly gave up on Jian and ducked sideways. Boom. Bluno missed the shot and hit the ice wall where Jonin had just been hiding, and stabbed it directly out of a big hole, making that Jonin's face change again in shock. What kind of ninjutsu is this? Looking at Bluno, who seemed to have come out of the air, Jonin was extremely frightened. He never noticed the existence of the other party from the beginning to the end. If it wasn't for the strong wind brought by the last attack, he might have been sneaked by the other party. This is such a bizarre means he has never heard of. But Bluno wouldn't say anything to him, he just looked at the Jonin indifferently. Damn it. Seeing that the other party ignored him, Jonin gritted his teeth, bounced off the ground, quickly distanced himself from Bluno, and then quickly began to squeeze his handprints. Shave. Want to release ninjutsu? I won't give you a chance. That Jonin only felt a sway in front of his eyes, and the woman's voice sounded in front of him before. What? Jonin's face changed wildly, and he realized that this woman has been hiding and waiting to attack him. Jonin gave up the ninjutsu, and stepped out of the way again. You are not the ninjas of the Land of Wind. Advertisement. Damn it, how many secrets does this Cardin Island hold? That Jonin's face was gloomy, looking at the 3 people walking across from each other. He had never seen the 3 knots from beginning to end, and each of them seemed to have abilities that he had never seen before. Now if he still thinks that the other party is a ninja from the Land of Wind, he is really stupid. There are many secrets, but you have no chance to know. Suddenly, A cold, unfamiliar voice sounded out of the three, making that Jonin's body froze. Razor. I saw an arc of light slid through the air, towards Jonin. Finger pistol. The arc slashed behind Jonin, and then a sharp attack came from behind Jonin. Boom. Finger pistol hit that Jonin, and there was no blood at first sight. With a flash of smoke, Jonin turned into a piece of wood. Under Lu Chi's finger pistol, it instantly burst into countless sawdust. In the distance, the figure of Jonin was escaping rapidly. Oops. Khalifa watched the figure flee away, and immediately chased after her face changed. But the next moment, he saw where the ninja was running away, and a tempest kick forced him back. Lu Chi, this guy almost let him go. Forcing the ninja back, Jabra turned into a wolf form of canine fruit, showing sharp fangs and claws, and said disdainfully to Lu Chi from a distance. Isn't this not letting go? Lu Chi replied lightly, with an indifferent expression, as if he knew Jabra would make a move, and Jabra almost rushed over in anger. Another master, what family do you belong to? To be able to not make a seal is to use ninjutsu similar to wind cutting, and it seems that there is no consumption, and it can become an animal. If you don't see it with your own eyes, others will not believe it when you tell him. However, for his inquiry, several people ignored him at all. Jabra was looking at Lu Chi with resentment, as if he could not care about him at the moment. Advertisement. Good chance. Water in a blink of an eye. The jonin of the Snow Clan condensed chakra on his feet, quickly turned into an afterimage, and quickly fled from the side to the distance. At the same time, this time, Jonin also learned to be smart, and quickly pinched his handprints while running. Ha! You can't run away, Lu Chi, let's see who can kill this guy. The loser will bring tea to the winner. Although Jabra has been staring at Lu Chi fiercely, but Yu Guang has been looking at Jonin, and the moment Jonin moved, he immediately moved, and shouted at Lu Chi at the same time. Hearing Jabra's words, Lu Chi glanced at Jabra lightly, and then disappeared instantly. This guy, every time he pretends not to have the same knowledge as Jabra, but every time Jabra provokes him, he will take it seriously. Khalifa waved his hand and saw Lu Chi and Jabra, almost all colleagues, came behind the ninja. Damn, I fought with you. The ninja felt that the two were approaching behind him, and knew that he could not run away from these guys. His face turned cold, and then he stopped. At the same time, his handprint was finally ready. Ice Shield Bing Ling instant kill. The jonin turned quickly, and countless ice picks formed in front of him. Shish. Just after it was formed, those two people who were rushing to the front with the frost and white air immediately rushed towards them. The ice cones were overwhelming, and the tip of each ice cone had a terrifying cold light, like a handle. Sharp long sword. Looking at the ice cone, even Lu Chi's expression changed, and he instantly entered the form of cat, fruit and leopard. Iron body. Ding ding ding. The two shouted together. One wolf and one leopard stared at the ice pick and rushed over at the same time. After the terrifying ice pick hit the two of them, it immediately blocked it, especially Lu Chi. The ice crystals that quickly cracked into pieces were scattered. What? Seeing that the two of them blocked his ninjutsu with his flesh, Jonin finally despaired, knowing that he could not escape even if he escaped this time, so he gave up his resistance directly. The two claws grabbed the ninja together, tearing it to pieces. Chapter 50 Bio-Giant Technology. Report, sir. The intruder has been repelled. Marine, who was watching the screen at the Marine Radar Reconnaissance Information Command Center, immediately reported. Okay, let CP9 come back. Nodding, Akira Yagayu instructed, and the staff immediately dialed the phone. Looking at the annihilated ninjas, Akira Yagayu suddenly thought of a problem. Although he occupied the land of the sea, compared to the land of water, it was still a drop in the bucket. The land of the sea could even contact the surrounding countries to attack the sea. The territory of the country, in this case, it would be meaningless to capture the country of the sea. After all, the nearby sea can be said to be dominated by the country of water, and if it is forced to pass through several small countries around it to invade the country of the sea, it must be no problem. Thinking of this, Akira Yagayu's brows knit together. His Royal Highness, I live up to the trust. After 7 days and 7 nights of continuous research, we have already understood the structure of the Pacifist, and we can even start to improve it. At this moment, the leader of the Marine Scientific Research Center, Jean Lyle, did not know where to find it. With a pair of dark circles under his eyes, he immediately came up and said happily after seeing Akira Yagayu. Akira Yagayu heard it, opened the Marine Mall, and found the Pacifist. Pacifist. The scientific research team developed a combat-type robot transforming human. After further research and development by the scientific research team, the production cost has been greatly reduced. Exchange requirement. 300.000.000, 300 million taels. Akira Yagayu nodded with satisfaction when he saw that the Pacifist had indeed lowered the price and it was the same as the real price in the world of pirates. However, when Akira Yagayu's eyes fell on a product in the corner of the Marine Mall, it suddenly lit up again. Bio-Giant Research Text. Creatures can be gigantic. The project is currently in the research stage, and for the time being, only non-human creatures can be gigantic. Exchange requirements. 3.000.000.000, 3 billion taels. This is it. Akira Yagayu looked at the research text floating in front of him, and his eyes suddenly lit up. As for the terrifying price of 3 billion taels, in Akira Yagiyu's opinion, it was too cheap. Exchange. Advertisement. Ding. The exchange is successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the research text of Biological Jontization 1. The sound of the system sounded, and a simple-looking codex appeared in Akira Yagiyu's inventory. Your Highness, what is this? Lyle asked curiously when he saw that Akira Yagiyu suddenly had an extra notebook. Akira Yagiyu didn't say a word, but threw the handjap directly to Lyle. As a result, when Lyle looked down at the codex, he was stunned. He hurriedly opened the codex and looked at the research formula and calculation plan above, making Lyle's eyes straight. His Royal Highness. This is the biological giant technology. Lyle looked at Akira Yagiyu excitedly, he almost jumped for joy. Can this thing be put into research and production now? Akira Yagiyu looked at Lyle and asked. Of course, according to the above, it can definitely be made. Lyle was so excited that he kept nodding towards Akira Yagiyu, holding the codex tightly in his arms, for fear that Akira Yagiyu would ask him for the codex back. You can make it. Don't be nervous, this thing is for you to study. Akira Yagiyu was also relieved to hear Lyle's affirmation. After all, this was what he bought with 10 pacifists' money. If he couldn't do it, he would lose a lot. Real. Lyle's smiling eyes narrowed into a slit, and the previous sleepiness was completely dissipated. Really, the problem of the pacifists just happened to be solved, then this will give you a week to give me the finished product. Advertisement. Akira Yagiyu nodded, then walked out. Ah, Your Highness, if you can't do it, I'll find someone else to do it. Before Lyle finished speaking, Akira Yagiyu's voice sounded from outside the door, causing Rielton to stop talking. These scientific research lunatics value this thing very much. If Akira Yagiyu is really handed over to others for research, then the scientific research team, the other people inside, are not going to strip him alive. Looking at the codex in his arms, Lyle wanted to cry without tears. Could this be the feeling of pain and happiness? Of course, Akira Yagiyu didn't just hand over the codex to Lyle and he had nothing to do, but immediately asked Kitano Ichiro to call Virgo and T-Pen over. Your Highness. The two came to the Marine Base director's office and saw Akira Yagiyu immediately saluting. Ichiro Kitano, do you know the location of the surrounding small countries? Akira Yagiyu turned to Kitano Ichiro when he saw the two of them were together. Your Highness, I have already prepared for you. Hearing Akira Yagiyu's question, Kitano Ichiro immediately became excited and took out a scroll, which was the distribution map of the countries near the land of water. Although the country of water is at sea, there are more than 10 small countries around it. Among them, the country of the sea is the smallest and the country with the weakest defense force. Above the country of the sea is a country with roots that is connected to Carden Island at the same time. Below the kingdom of the sea and connected to Carden Island at the same time as the kingdom of stars. If the water country wants to attack the sea country, in addition to passing through Carden Island, it needs to pass through these two countries. Both countries have their own military power, but the country of roots has no relationship with ninjas, so they chose to become a vassal of the country of water. As for the country of stars, it also borders the country of rainbows. There is a ninja family in the country. The country is more friendly to the country of water. Kitano Ichiro obviously knew that Akira Yagiyu would one day attack the surrounding countries, so he had done his homework and introduced Akira Yagiyu in detail immediately. Chapter 51 Sea King's Breeding Plan. The country of roots. Akira Yagiyu narrowed his eyes. He was certain that if he wanted to attack the land of the sea, the land of water must pass through the land of roots. No matter how good the kingdom of stars is with the kingdom of water, after all, it borders the kingdom of rainbows. As a neutral country of commerce and forbearance that connects major trades between big and small countries, no country will allow the kingdom of water to let its army threaten the kingdom of rainbows. The country of roots is adjacent to Carden Island and the country of the sea at the same time. The distance is less than 500 miles, and the distance from the country of water is thousands of miles. For the country of water, it is the most suitable supply springboard for attacking the country of the sea. And Akira Yagiyu's current thinking is that while Marine is fine now, it's better to take off their springboard first. Although he is confident that even if he does not remove the country of roots, he can stop the army of 100,000 people in the country of water, but it is best if he can reduce his losses. Of course, Akira Yagiyu's main goal is to obtain roots, the wealth of the country's treasury. Even the biogigantic technical text can be bought, and Akira Yagiyu doubts there is anything else that can't be bought in the Marine Mall. Virgo, you take 2 warships, 1 heavy and 1 light, to the waters near the land of the sea immediately. Try your best to capture the beasts, and bring them back to Carden Island. After thinking about it, Akira Yagiyu first gave Virgo a task. Spirit beast. Alien beast. Virgo didn't quite understand, and immediately looked at Ichiro Kitano suspiciously. Spiritual beasts are all kinds of giant beasts with magical powers hidden in the wild. Your Highness, do you want to contract summoning beasts? Most sea beasts can only fight in the sea. Hearing that Akira Yagiyu suddenly asked Virgo to capture the spirit beast, Kitano Ichiro also had a strange look on his face. Looking at Akira Yagiyu, he asked suspiciously. He also reminded by the way that if a sea beast can only fight in the sea, it is not the owner's help. It is very big, because when fighting, it is necessary to find enough water for activities. Don't guess if you don't understand. This mission is called the Sea King's Breeding Program. Virgo, you should understand what I mean. Advertisement. Akira Yagyu waved his hand. Kitano Ichiro was fine, but it was easy to think too much, and then looked at Virgo. Sea Kings. I see. After listening, Virgo nodded, as if he didn't see Kitano Ichiro's curious eyes. He immediately fell silent. You take Kitano Ichiro, and T-Pen and I go to the country of roots. Nodding, Akira Yagyu continued. Go to the country of roots. Your Highness, are you going too? Not only Kitano Ichiro, but T-Pen and Virgo were also taken aback. Yes, if I remember correctly, the country of roots has only one main island, and I plan to arrange some means on the island. As Akira Yagyu spoke, he circled the map scroll root country with a red pen. Or, Your Highness, I'll go with you. Thinking that Akira Yagyu was going to the battlefield in person, Kitano Ichiro was worried, and immediately asked. No, I will bring a few people from CP9 with me. If they can't protect me, it's useless for you to go. Akira Yagyu shook his head. Ichiro Kitano is currently the only one under his control who has chakra. He also needs to ask Ichiro Kitano to help seduce those spirit beasts. You must know that for spirit beasts in the wild, those who own chakra are no different from one another. Delicious food. Of course, Ichiro Kitano doesn't know Akira Yagyu's intention to use him as bait now, and even if he did, he certainly wouldn't refuse. Advertisement. However, when Akira Yagyu heard these words in Kitano Ichiro's ears, it really made him extremely ashamed. He deeply felt that his own strength had begun to be disconnected from the combat power of His Highness's men. Does Your Highness want me to contract those spirit beasts? Suddenly, Kitano Ichiro seemed to have thought of something, and he immediately regained his energy and his eyes became hot. Sure enough, His Highness has not given up on me. I am the only one under His Highness who owns chakra. Only I can make contracts with those spirit beasts. That must be the case. The more I thought about it, the more certain Ichiro Kitano felt in his heart, and he kept nodding in his heart. I understand your good intentions, Your Highness, I will follow Lord Virgo, please rest assured. Kitano Ichiro nodded heavily, with a look of determination and confidence, which made Akira Yagyu stunned for a moment. Although I don't know why Kitano Ichiro suddenly compromised, it just happened to make Akira Yagyu province spend a lot of time, so he decided to make a decision right away. As soon as a phone call was made, the marine in the harbor immediately moved into action. The 4 ships parked side by side in the harbor. They were covered with marine armed to the teeth. A lot of supplies were collected from the land of the sea. Akira Yagyu and marine's equipment were also a wave of upgrades took place. Akira Yagyu also specially prepared according to marine in one piece, adding a heavy artillery regiment composed of 500 people, equipping them with various short, medium and long-range heavy weapons. Wild Python Gatling. Sitting on the ground, it can shoot at a rate of 6,000 bullets per minute, and it can continuously carry out short and medium-range devastating blows. Effective range. 1,000 meters. Exchange requirements. 800.000, 800,000 taels. Hydrazine grenade gun. Built-in 6 projectile grenades, the shooting distance is relatively short, suitable for short to medium range operations, with a range of 30 to 800 meters. Here is the shortest safe distance to the maximum range. Exchange requirements. 150.000, 150,000 taels. Individual rocket launcher. It can strike at sea, land and air, with a range of 150 to 700 meters. Here is the shortest safe distance to the maximum range. Exchange requirements. 150.000, 150,000 taels. These 3 types alone cost Akira Yagyu more than 200 million, which made Akira Yagyu's wealth that was already consumed by the exchange of bio-giant technology to shrink again. For the first time, he felt that maintaining world peace also requires huge amounts of money, financially supported. Chapter 52 Indiscriminate Artillery Bombardment. Your Highness, please pay attention to safety. Before arriving at the port, he saw the heavily armed marine behind Akira Yagyu. Kitano Ichiro twitched the corner of his mouth. He had seen the terrifying power of these weapons with his own eyes. If he was set on fire by these weapons, even jonin would have no special means. It would be difficult to live without it, but despite this, the malicious wave still pleaded with Akira Yagyu again and again. Although the others did not think about it, they were also a little worried. Hey, you guys, it'll be fine if I'm here. Beside him, Crocodile, wearing a hood, with Kabuto in his hands, stepped out of the crowd, biting a cigarette with a fierce look on his face. No, Crocodile, you're staying here. Akira Yagyu looked at Crocodile and said suddenly. Crocodile was stunned. Virgo was sent by Akira Yagyu to capture sea beasts, and he didn't need to follow. CP9 I'll take Poke and Kaku and Bluno, you need to bring other people to keep Carden Island safe. Akira Yagyu said solemnly, marine warships leaving Kaden Island at this time will definitely be informed by the land of water in the shortest time, and even people from Kurigakure will come over immediately. At this time, the safety of Kaden Island must be guaranteed. That's fine, but with these things, I can't guarantee the safety of His Highness. Crocodile nodded. Of course he would not disobey Akira Yagyu's order, but he still said something, which made Lucci and the 3 of them stare. Ha 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 ha. Lu Qi, you are actually looked down upon by others. If you let His Highness suffer a little bit of damage, you can commit suicide. Before Lu Qi spoke, Jabra's arrogant voice immediately rang out, and everyone immediately looked strangely at this CP9 group who had not dealt much with them all day. Don't worry, with me, Your Highness will never be in any danger. Your Highness, let's go first. Lu Qi didn't like to communicate with people very much. He just pretended not to hear Crocodile's words. He knew that, except for Jabra, who always wanted to take advantage of his words, Crocodile was the most arrogant. But Crocodile is more arrogant to everyone. Advertisement. As Akira Yagyu guessed, 4 warships left Kaidan Island one after another, and the news was immediately passed back by messenger birds. In less than half a day, the news of the departure of a large number of troops from Kaidan Island had spread throughout the Land of Water. Blue blue blue. Akira Yagyu was already in the waters of the Land of Roots when his phone rang. Crack. His Royal Highness, it's not good, the country of water is now dispatching a lot of ninjas and troops, planning to attack Kaidan Island. The phone worm was just connected, and the phone worm immediately imitated Chiba Hai's anxious and nervous face and said in a hurry. Ding. Trigger the mission. Enemy on the belly and back. Mission requirements. Successfully resist the attack on Kaidan Island by the Land of Water, and capture the Land of Roots within 1 day. Quest reward. Skill, Fist of the King, a random lottery draw. Immediately after the task prompt, a string of red numbers are displayed behind it, which is a 24-hour countdown. Okay, I understand, you continue to monitor the movement of the country of water. Crack. Akira Yagyu replied, completely ignoring Chiba Kai's concerns, and hung up the phone. The country of roots, it seems that you can't escape. Raising his head to look at the seaside island of Nihonakuni, which was already in front of him, Akira Yagyu, who received the mission, narrowed his eyes and thought to himself. Seaside Island is the only island in the Land of Roots. The area of the island is more than 5 times that of Kaidan Island. There are forests and volcanoes on it. In the center of the seaside island, there is a continuous mountain range. Advertisement. Even white snow can be seen above the mountains. In the port of the country of Root, there are countless troops wearing armor of the country of water patrolling, and among them there is a ninja wearing a Kurigakure forehead protector, which is not like the defensive power that a small dependent country should have. Obviously, the country of Roots has been first stationed by the country of water, ready to attack the country of the sea. It seems that the country of water has long planned to use the country of Roots as a springboard to attack the country of the sea. Akira Yagyu looked at the port with sentries almost a few steps away, Akira Yagyu said to himself. At the same time, the sentries of the port of the Root country also discovered Akira Yagyu and their warships for the first time. Sure enough, fortunately, Your Excellency Damo had the foresight to let me bring the army of Damo over to garrison ahead of time. The Vanguard General of the Land of Water immediately sneered when he heard the report from his subordinates. Go on, all artillerymen are ready, and the enemy warship will start attacking immediately after it enters the attack range of 30 kilometers. After a pause, the Vanguard General immediately ordered to go down, and the sergeants at the port immediately took action. Even the ninjas who were resting all noticed the sudden lively scene outside and walked out of the lounge one after another. His Royal Highness, we have entered the 50-kilometer attack range. While Akira Yagyu was still observing, T-Pen came over to report. Have you confirmed the location of the capital of the country of Roots? Akira Yagyu nodded and asked. It has been confirmed that the interior of the seaside island is about 40 kilometers away from the port. In addition, according to the military map given by Kitano Ichiro, there is also an inland waterway connecting the sea in the country of Root, which can go directly to the country of Root. Ministry, if necessary, depending on the distance, the warships in the port can provide artillery support. T-Pen nodded. The country of Roots is a vassal of the country of water, and Kitano Ichiro was originally a samurai in the daimyo mansion of the country of water. Before he was arranged to Kaidan Island, he already knew the accuracy of the countries around Kaidan Island. The information is recorded. Well then, the indiscriminate artillery bombardment will start directly from the port. Chapter 53 Sea Encounters. With the order of Akira Yagyu, the 2 warships quickly turned their bows and aimed their sides at the port of the country of Roots. Facing the Akira Yagyu warship suddenly stopped and turned the ship, the pioneer general of the Land of Water was a little surprised. Did those guys plan to escape when they found us? No, they must not be allowed to escape, the chasing ships are ready to pursue the enemy warships. After the general pioneer had a guess in his heart, he immediately went out of control. He knew that, according to the plan, after Kaidan Island took out the army and left Kaidan Island, the Land of Water would likely take this opportunity to launch an offensive on Kaidan Island. If the warships of Kaidan Island go back now, it is very likely that they will be attacked by the army of the Land of Water. He absolutely cannot let these warships return to Kaidan Island at this time. In addition to the engineering staff, the pursuit ships of the Land of Water are all composed of ninjas. Each pursuit ship is equipped with a special jonin, 8 shunins, and 50 genins recruited from Kurigakure. Powered by the chakra power furnace, it can gallop on the sea without wind and waves. Following General Vanguard's order, the 5 chasing ships that had been prepared for a long time quickly departed from the port, intending to pursue Akira Yagyu's warships. Boom. Boom. Dot dot dot. The 5 pursuit ships had just left, and Akira Yagiyu's 2 warships immediately flashed a bright light, followed by a sound of muffled thunder. What? Damn, these guys are not running away, they are attacking us. General Pioneer looked at the incoming artillery shells, and he immediately understood the opponent's purpose. Countless artillery shells fell on the port, and the indiscriminate bombardment immediately caused heavy damage to the artillery and other defense systems above the port. Damn it, fight back now. The Vanguard General reacted and immediately issued an order, and the samurai who had been squatting beside the artillery immediately lit the lead of the artillery. Boom, boom, boom. Advertisement. The side-by-side artillery muzzles fired tongues of fire, and hundreds of shells quickly shot to the sea, intending to return fire to Akira Yagiyu's warship. However, compared with the attack range of the artillery on the Akira Yagiyu Vice Admiral class warship, the range of the artillery of the land of water is still too short to affect Akira Yagiyu's warship at all, and even bad shells slipped from the air and almost exploded. The 5 pursuit ships that went out. Damn, how can their artillery have such a long attack range? This is already our most advanced artillery, and it is so much shorter than theirs. The Vanguard General looked at the shells that sank halfway into the sea like dumplings, and his face turned ashen, and then he looked at the second round of bombardment from the Carden Island warship in disbelief. Then the third round, the fourth round, the fifth round. The bombardment lasted for half an hour, and the warship in the center of the seaside island suddenly came to a halt with thick fog. His Royal Highness, it's ninjas ninjutsu, please enter the cabin immediately. Looking at the thick fog that suddenly appeared and continued to spread to the warship, T-Pen said immediately. No need to. Akira Yagiyu waved his hand, directly opened the marine maul, and exchanged a pacifist from it. The other warship also opened the cabin immediately, and the pacifist was quickly released. During the period when the pacifists were turned on, the thick white fog had already filled the 2 warships, and the sight of all the personnel above was greatly restricted. After the pacifist turned on, he immediately looked around, and through the information fed back by the induction device on his body, he immediately locked the target, and then stopped in one direction. Immediately afterwards, he opened his mouth, and golden light waves quickly condensed in his mouth. Ahead of the pacifists, the pursuit ship stopped. We are disembarking now. According to the information reported by the 7 ninja swordsmen and the Ghost Lantern family, it is very likely that among the enemies there will be guys with explosion style similar to beams, and those who can see through the mist shinobi technique, everyone. The only special jonin on the ship called the ninjas on the ship and planned to disembark, but before they finished speaking, they found that there was a golden light flashing ahead. Could it be? Attracted by the golden light, that special jonin thought of the news brought back by the ghost of the Ghost Lamp clan who escaped from the land of the sea, and that special jonin's face changed suddenly. Advertisement. Shish. The gold slipped through the white mist and shot at their ships. Boom. A burst of fire rushed up, followed by a loud explosion, and red flames radiated from the white mist on the side. At the same time, in front of the other warship, there was a flash of fire, and with just one encounter, the 2 chasing ships and the ninja above were silent in the white fog before they even got off the ship. The ninjas on the other 3 chasing ships did not dare to stay longer, and immediately jumped off the ship, stepping on the sea and quickly approaching the 2 warships. Boom, boom, boom. The golden light crossed again, and there were 3 consecutive roars. Not long after those ninjas left the pursuit ship, they only felt that the sea behind them suddenly set off a wave of waves. It made those ninjas who were approaching the warship on the sea suddenly tighten their hearts. After the chasing ships were bombed and sank, the pacifist turned his eyes to one side, raised his palm, where the palm was facing, and the light waves began to converge, but they did not launch immediately. Be careful, the unfamiliar smell is getting stronger and stronger. Lu Chi has now turned into a leopard form, wrinkled his nose, and said in a deep voice. Your Highness, come in with me first. Bluno swiped his right hand, a box appeared in the space, and then Bluno opened it and said respectfully towards Akira Yagiyu. Okay. Akira Yagiyu nodded, and was led by Bluno into the space behind the door made by the door. From the inside, he could still clearly see the outside scene, except that he couldn't touch the surrounding things, as if he hadn't left at all. At the same time, the golden light in the hands of the pacifists was finally fired. Chapter 54 Observation Haki plus 36 Troubles. Coming. Lu Chi and the others did not have observation haki, so it was difficult to see through the white fog, but after Lu Chi turned into a leopard form, his sense of smell was greatly enhanced. The strong strange smell around him and the sudden attack of the pacifists made him sure that the other party was already there. Close. What? Along with the screams, the golden light exploded in front of a fire. Hey, big man, be careful, don't sink the warship. Kaku next to him felt that as the pacifist attack exploded, the warship also trembled, and he said immediately. Shish. On the other side of the explosion, a series of kunai shuriken flew over with a cracking sound, and some marines could not dodge and were seriously injured. Alert state. Start indiscriminate attacks on the periphery. T-Pen looked at the marines who were fighting each other, frowned suddenly, and shouted loudly, resounding throughout the deck. Hearing T-Pen's voice, those marines seemed to have found the backbone immediately, and immediately followed T-Pen's request, gathered together, and shot quickly into the white fog. For a time, like setting off firecrackers, a series of gunshots mixed the rich smell of gunpowder into the white fog. At the same time, another warship immediately sounded the sound of gunfire, and the golden lasers that the pacifists kept releasing. Damn, the gunshots were so intense, there was no way to pinpoint the other people's positions. The dense gunshots made the infiltrating Kurigakure ninjas have a hard time. After they released the Mist Shinobi technique, they mainly relied on the ability to distinguish sounds. Now the dense gunshots directly make them blind. Rats don't know where to attack. On the contrary, it is a pacifist, relying on the induction system installed by itself. Every time the golden light flashes, it can take away the life of at least one unlucky ninja. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. One of them, Jonin, frowned, quickly pinched 12 handprints, and a water dragon rose from the sea and rushed in the direction of those marines. Right angle flash pen aircut. Advertisement. The water dragon just appeared, and with the sound of T-pen, the blade flashed with silver light, and the water dragon was directly split in half in advance. Lu Chi also immediately seized the opportunity and immediately determined the location of the special Jonin. Razor. The body vacated, over the heads of everyone, and slid a long silver arc directly in the mist in the air. That special Jonin didn't know that Lu Chi had come over from his head and quickly pinched his handprints, intending to brew A-level ninjutsu. Fly finger pistol pull. Lu Chi was in the air, aiming at the special Jonin, and his sharp nails immediately popped out a transparent air bomb that quickly escaped Lu Chi's fingertips and rushed towards the ninja below. However, although the ninja is not a real Jonin, he can lead the team as a special Jonin and is also a powerful character. After feeling a strong crisis, he quickly used the body flicker technique to get out of the way. Boom. The air bomb almost rushed into the deck against the corner of the special Jonin's clothes, leaving a hole the size of a fist, so that the ninja immediately sweated from his back. On the other side, the silver light flashed again, and another water cannon that was going to attack those marines was blocked by T-pen, but this time, the strength of the ninjutsu was much stronger than the water dragon bomb just now. Especially the master of Jonin level. At this moment, after playing dozens of low-level ninjutsu in a row, and blocking another ninjutsu close to A-level power, T-pen was already out of breath. Kaku, who was simply on the side, also locked the opponent's position immediately and rushed to it quickly. Let's go out and help too. Akira Yagayu suddenly said that he owns observation haki himself, so he might as well practice with these ninjas here. Your Highness, it's dangerous outside. Bluno was a little embarrassed. If he took Akira Yagayu out and injured Akira Yagayu, Lu Chi would definitely kill him, but despite this, he followed Akira Yagayu's instructions and opened a square door frame from the open space next to him. Your Highness, please be very careful. Bluno came out first, and after confirming that there was no danger beside him, he said seriously. Advertisement. You don't have to worry about me, go and help first. There should also be a special Jonin-level powerhouse on the other warship. Through observation haki, Akira Yagayu sensed that 3 teams rushed over. The last one, especially Jonin, should have gone to another ship. The high-end combat power he brought was basically on his own warship. Warships would suffer heavy losses. Yes. After nodding, Bluno took it and entered the door. The next moment, he appeared behind a ninja on another warship. Here, Akira Yagayu closed his eyes, and the figures of everyone on the 2 warships seemed to be clearly felt by Akira Yagayu. Left. Akira Yagayu frowned, and felt that a ninja was quickly pinching his handprints on his side, as if he heard the conversation between Akira Yagayu and Bluno from the barrage sound, and planned to attack Akira Yagayu. And all of this was seen in Akira Yagayu's eyes. I saw that Akira Yagayu had already drawn out the black sword when the Chunin squeezed the handprint, and there was a residual wind on it instantly. 36 troubles. I saw Akira Yagayu swing out the long sword, the residual wind that originally surrounded the blade immediately grew stronger, and countless residual winds quickly converged, rushing out from the blade along with the sword energy. The terrifying airflow blew away the thick fog around the warship. What? Damn, water-style water bomb. Looking at the terrifying sword chi that suddenly rushed out in front, the Chunin widened his eyes, gritted his teeth, and quickly pinched out the last 2 fingerprints. A water bomb the size of a water tank formed in an instant, charging towards Akira Yagayu's sword energy. Boom. The sword energy went straight through the water bomb, cut it in half, and then rushed towards the Chunin without any hesitation, hitting the railing. A large hole was left on the deck along with the railing. As for the ninja, along with the few companions behind him who were planning to prepare for a ninjutsu sneak attack, they all disappeared with the hole. Asterisk. Chapter 55 Conqueror's Haki Clearance. This guy, he is the Lord of Carden Island. Looking at Akira Yagayu's face, those ninjas immediately identified Akira Yagayu's identity. In addition to being frightened, they looked at Akira Yagayu with increasingly unkind eyes. The ninjas present knew that it was because of this seemingly very young lord. So many top ninjas in the Land of Water died. Moreover, the name of the Land of Water even offered a bounty for the head of this young lord. The 2 special Jonin were fighting with Lu Chi and Kaku respectively, especially Lu Chi's side. He was chased and beaten by Lu Chi almost all the way, and he couldn't even release his ninjutsu. Fortunately, the guy's physical skills are still strong, and then plus there was Chunin next to him to harass him, otherwise Lu Chi would have been torn to shreds. But even so, he couldn't escape being killed by Lu Chi if he continued to fight. Facing the remaining Chunin and Genin, Akira Yagayu was not at all cowardly. Oh, You shouldn't have exposed it. Suddenly, above the mast, an icy voice sounded. It was another special jonin, and there was the corpse of Marine Lookout at his feet. This guy was actually on this warship from beginning to end. As the sound fell, the last special jonin was running the body flicker technique at the same time, jumping down on the mast, holding a shuriken in his hand, and stabbing at Akira Yagyu. The ninja was very fast, his actions were not sloppy at all, and he appeared above Akira Yagyu almost in the blink of an eye, and even T-Pen had no time to react. Maeda Kashui, the genius of the Kurigakure family of the day before yesterday, was promoted to chunin at the age of 13, and has already begun to accept assassination missions, including even 10 ministers of the country of waves protected by chunin, relying on this extraordinary endurance. He, I took your head. Maeda Kashui showed a cruel smile, and he admired the helpless and fearful expressions of those people before they died. Your Highness. Noticing the sudden appearance of Maeda Kashui, both Lucci and Kaku's expressions changed, and T-Pen even rushed over with a knife to stop it. Advertisement. Akira Yagyu instead closed his eyes in the face of the attack that came straight down. Have you accepted your fate? Maeda Kashui sneered. You can imagine how cruel he laughed under the mask. Just when Maeda Kashui was less than 3 meters away from Akira Yagyu suddenly opened his eyes. Buzz. The space seemed to freeze at this moment, and an invisible wave of air swept out of Akira Yagyu's body quickly. Everything that came into contact with the air wave stopped instantly. Those people, whether it was a ninja or a marine, seemed to see something. People they can't face. Everyone looked at Akira Yagyu's direction in horror, but they didn't dare to look directly at Akira Yagyu's figure. The next moment, whether it was marine or those chunin and genin, they all fainted instantly. Not only the main ship of Akira Yagyu, but also the people on the other warship were also affected. As for Maeda Kashui, who is closest to Akira Yagyu, his right hand holding the shuriken is trembling frantically. At this moment, he seems to feel like he has fallen into an endless swamp and is about to drown, and Akira Yagyu seems to be waiting to be taken away. Shinigami of his life, he didn't even dare to look into Akira Yagyu's face. 36 troubles. Suddenly, Akira Yagyu's voice sounded, Maeda Kashui's eyes moved, and his eyes became terrified. He wanted to immediately withdraw the attack and leave the guy who gave him terrifying pressure as soon as possible. His senses became stronger, his movements seemed to be extremely slow to him, and Akira Yagyu's movements almost dazzled him. Watching Akira Yagyu pull up the long sword and chop it down, a blue air blade rushes towards him with a whirlwind. He seems to have regained control of his body, but at this time he wants to avoid Akira Yagyu's attack. It's too late. Boom. Without the defensive resistance of the ninjutsu arrangement, Maeda Kashui's body was like a piece of paper, easily shredded by the sword energy, and even the chi blade continued to trend, and the mast of the warship was cut horizontally. What kind of ninjutsu is this? Advertisement. One particular jonin was beheaded by Akira Yagyu, and the other two, marine and chunin, who were slumped to the ground, were terrified. They felt like they were struck by lightning, and their hearts almost jumped out. Seeing that Akira Yagyu was all right, Lucci and Kaku were relieved immediately, taking advantage of the stupefied effort of the two special jonin, beheading them one after another. Your Highness, are you all right? After the two special jonins were dealt with, the remaining ninjas were also bound by chains, their palms were separated, and all the ninja captives were taken care of separately, and even Lucci dislocated all the arms of those ninjas, in order to absolutely make sure to avoid them using ninjutsu to break free. I'm fine. Akira Yagyu waved his hand. At this moment, the white fog dissipated. When he looked at the port of the root country again, the port had been completely bombed into ruins, and there was no one alive. Find the inland waterway entrance of the land of roots, and we will go directly to their capital. Akira Yagyu looked away and continued to command. The two warships took the ninja prisoners and headed for the center of Neneshima without the slightest hindrance. When Akira Yagyu and the others arrived in front of the capital of the Kingdom of Roots, just like the Kingdom of the Sea, the gates had been closed, and the army was standing on the city wall. Different from those mercenaries hired by the Kingdom of the Sea, although the Kingdom of Roots is also a vassal of the Kingdom of Water, it has its own army, which is extremely neat and solemn, and at the same time a chilling atmosphere permeates the audience. Akira Yagyu brought Marine and Lucci to the outside of the capital city of the Kingdom of Roots. The sergeants on the city wall couldn't help looking at Akira Yagyu, and the quiet city walls kept subconsciously swallowing saliva. Whoever descends will not kill. Facing the serious warrior army of the land of Roots, Akira Yagyu only said one sentence. After that, hundreds of captured ninjas were kneeled on the ground by Marine, facing the capital of the land of Roots. Chapter 56 Volley, Defense Artillery. It's the ninjas of Kurigakure. They've all been defeated and taken prisoner. Seeing those ninjas who were always high above the ground, at this moment like a bereaved dog being pressed to the ground, the warriors on the city wall suddenly became heavy breathing. Your Excellency, you are very powerful. The equipment of your soldiers is also very good. We are not your opponent. On the top of the city gate, the general in charge of defending the city looked down and noticed that Marine under Akira Yagyu was actually equipped with muskets, and his tone was also a little nervous. But now, the daimyo of the land of water has dispatched the army to attack Carden Island. Your Excellency has dispatched all the troops. Carden Island is in danger now. Why don't you just let us go, and we will not be your enemy from now on? After a pause, the general continued, hoping that Akira Yagyu could retreat due to the pressure of the land of water on Kaden Island. Although those muskets are powerful, if they stick to the city wall with all their strength, they may be able to hold on to the reinforcements of the land of water. Arrival. But what he thinks now, is that it is best to delay as long as possible. Fight, or surrender. Akira Yagyu looked at the city wall ahead, but couldn't tell what he was thinking from the face and tone. Akira Yagyu's sharp eyes swept across every soldier on the city wall. Those soldiers were immediately nervous and dared not look at Akira Yagyu. Facing these unyielding sergeants, Akira Yagyu waved, and the ninjas were all taken down, and the marines, muskets were all put away. Retiring. The soldiers and generals on the city wall noticed all of this, and were instantly overjoyed. The general said in surprise, he didn't expect that he would be able to convince the other party. Blow up the city wall. Looking at the unmoved warriors of the Kingdom of Roots, Akira Yagyu's expression did not change at all, as if he did not hear the general's persuasion, he just said a word. It's been so long since the war, these guys have comfortably forgotten how terrible the war is. Advertisement. Akira Yagyu's voice fell, and a group of figures slowly walked out of the marine crowd. 2 pacifists stood on either side, with hundreds of heavy artillery regiments in the middle. What is that? Be careful, they are going to attack the city. He didn't know the generals of the land of roots such as Gartley's rocket launchers, but he heard the mention of the 2 pacifists from the land of the sea, and the smile on his face instantly froze, and he said nervously. Boom. Buzz. Shish. ... The team on Akira Yagyu's side gushed out, and countless attacks fell on the city wall, causing a roar. The country of roots was only a vassal of the country of water, and basically all the fighting forces were sent to the port. Now there is not even a ninja, and the armored samurai can't stop the bombing and crushing of these hot weapons. For a time, the sound of the explosion filled the world. In the capital city of the Kingdom of Roots, no matter the ordinary people or the nobles, they hid at home and did not dare to come out. They listened to the movements outside with fear. Facing the bombardment of the heavy artillery regiment, those warriors had no resistance at all. Some were killed and bombed, and some were buried directly with the collapsed city wall. However, Akira Yagyu didn't have much feeling. When he first killed the female betrayal who attacked him, he knew that in this world, either you kill others, or others kill you, not to mention, it's their own choice. At this moment, Kaden Island also ushered in the raiding force of the land of water. There are more than 100 building ships, 90,000 soldiers, 3 jonins from 3 ninja families, 6 special jonins, and an army of more than 100 shunin and genin. The mighty departed from the land of water and approached the sea area of Kaden Island. Advertisement. The ninja team did not go with the ordinary samurai, but set off first, landed on Kaden Island first, and destroyed the defense system of the water country. In the same place as the last ninja vanguard, more than 100 ninjas quietly landed on the shore. General, the ninja team has landed and has not encountered an attack. It seems that the Lord of Kaden Island did not leave much defense after the army was withdrawn. It's better to be careful, we don't have to land, and directly launch artillery attacks after entering the attack range. All the combat power of the product betrayal on Kaden Island. The general in charge of the expedition is called Yagyu Yuchuang, a member of the branch house of the Yagyu family. In its view, Akira Yagyu has done what he once wanted to do, but he is also an impulsive guy, and this impulsive guy, it takes the entire Kaden Island to pay for it. Direct attack. I see. Hearing Yagyu Yuchuang's words, his men were stunned. This is to wipe out the whole island. After receiving the order of Yagyu Yuchuang, the building boats started to operate quickly, approaching Kaden Island like dense black spots. Mr. Jabra, the enemy's building ship has entered the attack range. Inside the Marine Radar Information Reconnaissance Command Center, the staff immediately told Jabra, who was left behind. Haha, those guys really fell for it. Attack, that guy Lu Chi just wasn't there. I'll show him a good fight, and he must make me kneel and pour tea for me. Jabra grinned directly and ordered quickly. At the same time, the defensive cannons built by Akira Yagyu on the mountains and cliffs around Hygeia City were fully operational. The 200 cannons were all built by Akira Yagyu on various heights of Kaden Island. The 360-degree steering capability allows at least 150 of the 200 cannons to attack the same one at the same time. Direction target. Boom. The 169 cannons that can aim at the coming and going of the building ship fire almost at the same time, and all the sounds are made at the same time, like a cannonball the size of a water tank being ejected from the cannon hole, and the smoke after the cannonball is released while half of Kaden Island outside Hygeia City was shrouded, and the shock after the release caused the entire Kaden Island to tremble. Chapter 57 The Super Storm Crushes the Ninja. Oops, we've been tricked. Hearing the sudden sound of cannons on Kaden Island and feeling the shaking of the earth at the same time, the 3 jonin headed by their faces suddenly changed, and they watched in horror as more than 100 huge cannonballs passed overhead and rushed towards those buildings. Ferry. They thought that there was no defense on Kaden Island, but they didn't expect that the other party was waiting for them, deliberately letting them in, and then giving the large army behind an illusion. What to do? The ninjas below are all looking at the 3 of them. Although they already know what to do, it still depends on the arrangement of the 3. For this mission, the ninjas of the 3 ninja families in the land of water are the ninja clan. The Mizuna clan, who can use the smoke to invade the enemy's body by breathing, and the Yoshizumi clan, who can use the wave to create huge waves. Almost half of the ninjas in the clan were dispatched for this mission. According to the plan, find their defensive artillery, destroy it, and land with the army behind. The three ninjas glanced at each other, said a word, and planned to leave their respective adults, but a dry wind suddenly blew in the dense forest. What happened? The three leading people were taken aback for a moment. This is the country of the sea, and they have never felt such dry air here before. Erosion cycle. A man's voice came from the jungle, and the grass and trees on the ground quickly turned yellow, and then the soil and rocks also cracked, and quickly sanded at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few breaths, the green and deep jungle turned into a golden yellow, and the wet island land also turned into soft quicksand when the ninjas looked at it. How is this possible? The ninjas seemed to have seen a ghost, and they even once wondered if they had fallen into an illusion. Advertisement. But then, those withered trees, followed by golden leaves, suddenly moved, as if being mobilized, they broke away from the branches and gathered in the sky in the distance. Heavy shalon. Crash. With a low voice from a man deep in the forest, almost all the leaves in the entire forest trembled and all rushed into the distance. What? It's impossible. Look. A ninja raised his head subconsciously, only to see a huge tornado in the deep forest in the distance, growing rapidly towards them. How so? All the ninjas from the three families saw their scalps go numb and couldn't help asking. In everyone's terrified eyes, the sandstorm was like an open abyss, uprooting all the grass and trees in the jungle, and the slightly smaller rocks were also involved and crushed in an instant. The suddenness of the sandstorm came, and the ninjas found that it was just a few breaths, and it was already close to the front. Run! Seeing that the sandstorm was aimed at him, the three jonin trembled wildly, roared loudly, and quickly dispersed around. However, by the time the sandstorm came to them, it had already grown huge, and the entire cliff had been occupied by the sandstorm, and there was no way to escape. The genins who were not very strong were the first to suffer. The strong wind directly rolled up the boulders they had grabbed with chakra, and the whistling of the hurricane covered all the wailing. This hurricane is like a natural disaster. It is too late. These ninjas are too late to display their ninjutsu. Run to sea. Advertisement. Seeing this, the three jonin did not dare to resist, gritted their teeth, and jumped into the sea again. When other ninjas saw this, they all jumped down one after another. On the way, many of them lost their center of gravity and were pulled into the eye of the wind by the hurricane. The strong tearing force in the center of the hurricane instantly crushed everything inside like a knife. Smash. The ninjas who had successfully escaped to the sea looked at all this, and were instantly horrified. At the same time, they also secretly rejoiced that they had run away earlier, otherwise they would have been one of them. There's someone in there. In the hurricane, the ninjas vaguely seemed to see a figure biting a cigarette. The ninjas stared at it suspiciously. Damn, retreat, this is controlled, everyone run. Jonin of the three families reacted first, roared lowly, and quickly stepped on the sea without looking back and fled into the distance. The others were stunned and followed suit. In the center of the hurricane, Crocodile's body had turned into yellow sand. Looking at the ninjas fleeing like ants in the distance, he sneered, escaped from the sandstorm, and projected it forward. The hurricane quickly swelled again, and even some out-of-control signs. But Crocodile's face became crazy because of this, biting his cigarette tightly, and using his final control over the sandstorm, he pushed it out of Carden Island. Under the control of Crocodile, the storm has formed, constantly absorbing the surrounding sea breeze. After contacting the sea water, it quickly sucked up the sea water below. Coupled with the thrust before Crocodile finally escaped control, it left Carden Island turbulently. Quickly rushed to the sea. The terrifying wind churned the sea, and the originally calm sea also formed a huge vortex because of the hurricane. Those ninjas who had just pulled out not too far, immediately many fell into the water because of the turbulence of the sea, and were caught in the storm by the water below, which scared the others and accelerated the speed, but the speed of the storm was too fast. And the sea water continued to gather in the storm, even three jonin could not escape the chase of the storm at all. No, countless people were unwilling to be drawn into the storm with the water flow, roaring, but they were quickly overwhelmed by the sound of the storm. Just one encounter, the team of more than 100 ninjas formed by the three tribes was completely destroyed. Chapter 58 Out of Control Hurricane. The ship army of the Land of Water had already been beaten by the defensive artillery of Kaden Island and returned to the open sea. They wanted to wait for the ninjas to destroy those defensive weapons, but they were immediately taken down from Kaden Island, attracted by the storm. How can there be a storm here? The commander-in-chief of this operation, Yagayu Yuchuong, almost glared his eyes out. They came with a large number of troops, and before they even attacked, more than 10 ships were sunk by the artillery fire from Carden Island. He was very unhappy at the moment. However, having lived in the surrounding water country for a long time, he knew that storms at sea were terrifying, and every storm would bring immeasurable losses to the islands of the water country. However, what puzzled him was that the storm came so fast that there was no sign at all, as if it had been created by man. Looking up at the storm that had grown to a diameter of nearly 100 meters and was still rapidly growing dozens of kilometers away, he immediately dispelled his guesses. The storm with this diameter was simply not controllable by humans. My lord, the storm is so strong that our ship has begun to shake. The following Haishi reported in a loud voice, glanced at the storm in the distance, and couldn't help but flash a panic. As soon as the man's voice fell, Yagayu Yuchuang also noticed that the building ship had begun to shake violently, and even the undercurrent of the sea below was surging, actually flowing in the direction of the hurricane. Retreat. Just hesitating, Yagayu Yuchuang found that the storm had grown a little bit bigger, and finally showed his panic, and immediately ordered. However, although more than a dozen ships have been sunk due to the cannons of Cardin Island, and the team of ninjas that have been discharged is like a rock sinking into the sea, there is no response at all, which makes him even more afraid to insist. Advertisement. A hurricane at sea is a nightmare for all people at sea. Everyone knows what it means, and no one dares to slack off and just want to leave this sea area immediately. All the ships quickly turned their bows and fled frantically to the open sea. But what was really terrifying was that the hurricane actually followed in a straight line, as if chasing them. Damn it, disperse, disperse, all ships out of the storm. Seeing the storm that was chasing after him, Yagayu Yuchuang's face turned pale. He was so big, he had never raced against a hurricane before. He immediately shouted, and the various warships quickly turned their bows again. However, during the chase, the hurricane grew again and now almost doubled its diameter. However, the main damage is not the hurricane, but the waves caused by the hurricane and the undercurrent under the sea surface. With the current pulling force of the undercurrent in the sea, it is absolutely like a 10,000-ton super attack. With the influence of the hurricane, the clouds above the sky were pulled over and continuously gathered into dark clouds. The surrounding area was dark for hundreds of kilometers. Even fishermen far away on the main land of the land of water could see the terrifying storm in the distance. What a big storm. It's in the direction of Cardin Island. My god, is it the wrath of Lord Sea God? I heard that Lord Daming sent a lot of high-rise ships today to crusade against the rebels. What did they do to anger Sea God? Grown-ups. The fishermen in the land of water looked at the waves that were also affected, and they continued to beat on the coast, and they all guessed in horror. The storm is getting closer and closer, and the strength of the wind and the countercurrent of the sea is getting stronger and stronger. The storm is like a monster with countless tentacles, pulling the last few buildings and ships slowly towards the center of the hurricane. Above the building ship, the soldiers were so frightened by this terrifying natural disaster that their faces were bloodless and they kept mourning, but they were immediately drowned out by the wind, and they were dragged into the storm together with the building ship and disappeared without a trace. Seeing that several high-rise ships were swallowed up, those high-rise ships were trying harder to get out of the hurricane's range. All of them tried their best to control the direction of the ships. He originally carried hundreds of warships with confidence, and felt that it was not easy to retake a Cardin Island. Advertisement. But he didn't expect that he didn't even see the enemy's face, and fled back like a lost dog. He could already imagine what kind of punishment would greet him after returning. He couldn't understand why Cardin Island had a range and power that surpassed the top combat weapons in the land of water, and he couldn't understand why a hurricane suddenly rushed out of Cardin Island, all of which he wanted to break. The brain can't figure it out. However, he didn't have the time to think too much about these, and now he just wanted to get rid of the hurricane's influence as soon as possible. They simply found out early and retreated in time. After a few warships were caught in the storm again, the remaining building ships escaped and scattered on both sides, and the storm just skipped them and moved straight towards them. The direction of the main island of the land of water rushed over. PFF'd. It's over, it's over. Yagayu Yuchuang sat on the deck, staring blankly at the passing hurricane, his face a little blank. At this moment, the people on the main island of the land of water found that the sky was getting gloomier and gloomier, and there was even a strong wind around the coast, causing the fishing and merchant ships on the coast to keep shaking. The army in charge of garrisoning on the harbor, among them, the scouts observed the movement on the sea, looked with the observation glass, and saw the hurricane suddenly appearing on the sponge. His face suddenly turned pale, and he rushed down without saying a word. My lord, the wind, the hurricane, a hurricane is coming fast to the port. The samurai in charge of reconnaissance stumbled all the way to report to the leader of the defense personnel on the port side, which made everyone's faces tighten. Whether it was the people or the defending samurai, as well as the ninjas who helped to station and prepare to support Yagayu Yuchuang, they all noticed this strange weather. Asterisk. Chapter 59 inches black arm, Zephyr designated recruitment order. Hiss. When people came to the port to look at the sea, they could even see the existence of the hurricane with the naked eye, like a blue rope connecting the sky and the sea, twisting and rushing towards this side. It is Lord Sea God who is angry. It is Lord Sea God's anger. Have they come to punish us? Lord Sea God atonement. Lord Sea God atonement. ... Ordinary people have never seen such a scene, and many people immediately knelt on the ground and begged. In the face of such a scale of natural disaster, even ninjas cannot avoid despair. There are no cars in this era. In the face of storms that can reach hundreds of kilometers per hour, no one can run away from ordinary people and samurai. In the face of natural disasters, people can only pray. The hurricane continued to gallop, and the strong winds had begun to affect the shore. The flag of the land of water was eaten and flapped in the air. The merchant ships in the higher harbor were directly overturned. The waves were even higher than the harbor, and the sea water continued to flood into the port. The number of people on the beach was bent down by the strong wind, and all kinds of roof fragments and planks were blown by the wind. Everyone below was taking refuge everywhere. Before arriving, the entire port is already a scene of doomsday. Damn it, why is this happening? Is it really the sea god who is angry? Seeing the approaching hurricane and the samurai panicking, the coastal defense officer of the Land of Water murmured. Ah, Lord, save me. Just as he was muttering to himself, a relatively thin adjutant standing beside him wanted to escape. He just took a step and immediately lost his focus. The whole person was swept up by the strong wind with a scream and then fell heavily. On the ground, he died directly. He can only stand in front of him now, and the wind is blowing constantly on him. He even feels that if he moves now, he will definitely be the same as his adjutant just now. He didn't dare to move. At this moment, he was desperate. He could only quietly close his eyes and face the hurricane in front of him, waiting for the scene where he couldn't hold on to being swept up by the hurricane and then fell to his death. Kindness. Suddenly, everyone noticed that the wind was weakening, and when they looked up, the hurricane was actually 20 kilometers away from the port. Because it absorbed too much seawater, it stopped and began to dissipate. It's gone. It's actually gone. Woohoo, Lord Sea God bless you. Advertisement. Ooh. The feeling of the rest of my life after the catastrophe made everyone not believe their eyes. Everyone was already desperate, but the hurricane actually stopped by itself. This kind of stimulation made everyone feel like they were going crazy, and everyone was excited. Cried. Many people are not afraid of death, but the process of watching death come step by step and waiting for their own death is a pain beyond death. As the hurricane finally couldn't bear the pressure of too much seawater, it finally dissipated, and the seawater that continued above the sky finally poured down, and the fish in the sea fell along with it in the pouring rain. There was also the battleship of the Kingdom of Water, which had been involved in tatters, and fell from the air. There was no one figure on it, not even a corpse. I don't know where it was scattered. About what happened on the harbor side, it was quickly reported back to the capital, but when the country of water was planning to attack Kaden Island, a hurricane of this scale appeared. Everyone knew that this was definitely not an accident, but no one dared to believe it. All this was done by the Lord of Kaden Island. This kind of natural disaster is absolutely beyond human control. But Akira Yagyu doesn't know this now, and now he's busy scavenging for the riches of the Land of Roots. His Royal Highness, I have brought all the things you asked for. Here is the treasury of the country of roots and the statistics of the wealth of the noble houses. T-Pen came to Akira Yagyu with the booklet that Akira Yagyu was familiar with, and said respectfully. Well, as before, bring me back to the Lord's mansion. Akira Yagyu opened the booklet and nodded. Ding. Congrats to host for his wealth. 4,152,760,000. Avoid the number of words in water, and don't write anything after 10,000. Current wealth. 4,671,280,000. Ding. Congratulations on capturing the country of roots. Ding. Successfully resisted the attack on Kaden Island by the Land of Water. Ding. Complete the mission. Be attacked by the enemy. Ding. Get the quest reward. Skill, Fist of the King, a random draw. Advertisement. Start drawing rewards immediately. Akira Yagyu's eyes lit up when he heard that the mission was completed, and he said excitedly, no matter how much money he looted. Ding. Start drawing random rewards. The familiar interface appeared before Akira Yagyu's eyes, and the items inside changed rapidly. Looking at the items that kept flashing, Akira Yagyu was breathing heavily. The previous two random draws gave him a set of Conqueror's Hokage and the first Pacifist, which were of great help to him at the beginning. Let him start to look forward to what rewards can be randomly drawn this time. The picture in front of Akira Yagyu flashed quickly, and then stopped quickly. Akira Yagyu's eyes quickly became solemn after seeing what was in the picture. Ding. Congratulations to host for obtaining the designated recruitment order from Marine School's Chief Instructor, Black Arm, Zephyr. Name. Zephyr. Title. Black Arm. Race. Human. Rank. Chief Instructor of Marine School, formerly Marine Admiral, now retains the rank of Vice Admiral. Dao Strength. 12,000. Abilities. Armament Hockey, Advanced Observation Hockey, Intermediate. Skills. Marine 6 Styles, Black Arm Break, Black Arm Sky, Black Arm Fall. Weapon. None. Chapter 60 The Power of the King's Fist. Zephyr. The Black Arm Zephyr who taught the Marine 3 Admiral and countless Vice Admirals. Akira Yagyu's eyes widened, looking at Zephyr's name and information in the prompt above, the 12,000 Dao value in it, almost made Akira Yagyu call it out. Akira Yagyu turned his gaze to the inventory, where a golden recruitment order was lying. Use the designated recruitment order. Akira Yagyu held her breath and said something softly. Ding. Use the designated recruitment order to recruit General Marine, Black Arm, Zephyr. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral level or above, unlocking a special building, Marine Academy. The next moment, the voice of the system sounded in Akira Yagyu's mind, and the original gray icon of Marine Academy in the special building column suddenly lit up. After a while, Zephyr came from a distance and came to Akira Yagyu. I have seen your highness. Zephyr knelt down on one knee, and his arm still existed when he was the chief instructor at Naval Headquarters. Black Arm, Zephyr, the name was derived from his invincible fists. Looking at Zephyr's back, Kaku and the others all looked solemn, and the breath from his body made them almost breathless. They couldn't imagine what kind of man this 60-year-old man in front of him had. Strength. The chief instructor of Zephyr, please get up. I wonder if you would like to serve as the chief instructor of my Marine Academy. Akira Yagyu looked surprised, and quickly lifted Zephyr from the ground, then asked with a sigh. Everything is subject to your arrangement, Your Highness. Advertisement. Zephyr has a serious face and a deep voice at the moment. He is absolutely meticulous about the tasks that Akira Yagyu has given him, just like the dean of the teaching area that Akira Yagyu used to guard at the door of the teaching area every day when he was in school. 3 days passed in a flash, during which time, Shiba Hai also made several phone calls, all of which were sighs and compliments to Akira Yagyu. The storm that appeared inexplicably from Cardin Island swept all the way, and the battle fleet that came to attack Cardin Island was severely damaged. Nearly 1/3 of the battleships were destroyed in this battle, and others were generally injured. The warships that came to attack Cardin Island were not even able to board Cardin Island. The commander-in-chief of the attack, Yagyu Yuchuang, committed suicide in fear of crime, and his family was all exiled to no man's land. The news spread quickly, and for a while, countless people felt terrified, especially the other country, the Kingdom of Stars, which was connected to Cardin Island, and hired ninjas to fill their own national strength. Mr. Crocodile, so you are here, is Your Highness here again? As soon as Kitano and Ichiro returned to Cardin Island, they couldn't wait to find Akira Yagyu's figure, and they found Crocodile's figure until they found the jungle that was completely deserted by Crocodile. Kitano Ichiro was not too surprised as to why the lush forest suddenly turned into sand. When they were on the warship, they noticed it at sea, and after pondering with Virgo, they determined that it was definitely Crocodile. Crazy did it. Yes, that's not it. Crocodile hugged his arms and leaned on a pillar made of sand. He was looking at the sand sea he created with satisfaction. After hearing Kitano Ichiro's question, he pointed to the center of the sand sea and said with a smile. When Kitano Ichiro looked at Crocodile's direction, he saw that Akira Yagyu was jumping from the air and punched the sand below. The King's Fist. Buzz. Boom. Advertisement. On the sand outside Caden Island, there was a buzzing sound, followed by a gust of wind. Accompanied by the sound of an explosion, a wave of air bulged out of the sand sea. The hood immediately covered the entire Cardin Island. What happened? In the city of Hygeia, it was also shrouded in golden sand for the first time. Every grain of sand hit the body with tearing pain. The people screamed and hid in the room, watching carefully through the window. Looking outside, the sand hit the window, making a long, tingling sound. And the power of the explosion is far more than that. In the sand and dust, a bigger shock seems to have condensed into substance, and the ring-shaped shock waves follow, crushing all the rocks around the sand sea, and then the remaining power does not diminish, and directly rushes into the sea. After the UA impact rushed into the sea, the originally calm sea surface was immediately squeezed down. When the UA impact passed from the sea, the squeezed seawater immediately rushed out of the sea, forming huge waves of dozens of meters, as if just like chasing the shock, an arc-shaped water wave was formed with the island of Cardin as the center, closely following the shock. Gudong. Your Highness has become stronger again. Looking at the terrifying power brought by just one punch, Kitano Ichiro's originally excited face was a little bitter. He didn't expect that after only 3 days of absence, His Highness's punch had already hit such a powerful force. Not good. Seeing that part of the annular shock wave was rushing towards Hygeia City, Crocodile in the distance suddenly changed his face, and immediately squatted down, his hands were inserted into the sand, and a huge upper wall quickly rose in the sand, blocking the shock wave. Front. Boom. The shock wave hit the sand wall, but it did not break through immediately, nor was it completely blocked. The shock wave contained indescribable power, and it was constantly squeezed inside the sand wall. There was a sand wall dozens of meters thick and 100 meters high. There was some trembling in the shock. Immediately afterwards, the sand wall that Crocodile urgently gathered burst, and the impact was blocked by the sand wall. Crocodile looked at the surroundings that were completely shrouded in dust and waved his hand. The dust seemed to be dominated and quickly dissipated. Akira Yagyu appeared in the middle of the dust. Chapter 61 The Marine Academy is completed. In the middle of the sand sea, Akira Yagyu's breathing was a little heavy. Under him, a huge sand pit with a radius of 100 meters and a depth of nearly 3 meters had been cleared by the terrifying impact. As expected of the King's Fist that consumes a lot, even if the side effects of damaging myself are cancelled, with my current physical condition, I can only activate it once a day. Akira Yagyu gasped and looked at the big hole he made with a calm face. The armament haki on his fist quickly faded away, and his arm was still a little sore. You must know that this is still the case of him having the physique of a fish. If it is an ordinary human body in terms of quality, I am afraid that the arm will be dislocated with the punch just now. At the same time, it is also fortunate that Akira Yagyu is here to test the power of the King's Fist. If it were the Marine base building, maybe that one punch could destroy the training ground. Your Highness, are you alright? Seeing Akira Yagyu walking out slowly, Kitano Ichiro asked excitedly. Didn't you see it? Akira Yagyu rolled his eyes, but it didn't make much of a difference, except for the dust that fell on his face. How is it? Did you gain anything in these 3 days? Blowing the sand off his face, Akira Yagyu looked at Virgo, who was following Ichiro Kitano next to him. It's all there with him. Virgo glanced under the sunglasses and turned his head to Kitano Ichiro. Hey, you all come out. Kitano Ichiro smiled and shouted towards the sea outside the sand. Buzz. Advertisement. Wow. I saw the sea shake, and the 5 giant beasts slowly raised their heads from the sea, looked towards the coast, and when their eyes met Akira Yagyu and the others, Akira Yagyu clearly felt the fear in the eyes of these guys. What kind of poisonous hand can make these giant beasts more than 10 meters in size show such an expression? His Royal Highness, I signed a blood contract with them, so I don't have to be afraid that they will betray. Kitano Ichiro glanced at the alien beasts, and then said to Akira Yagyu as if offering a treasure. You all signed the blood contract. Akira Yagyu was stunned for a moment, but he forgot about it. Originally, he just wanted to let Kitano Ichiro help lead the way, and by the way, he was a fish to catch a few big guys to raise, but he didn't expect this guy to sign a blood contract. Because he brought them back directly, Kitano Ichiro doesn't need to summon summoning, so it won't cost anything. After seeing these alien beasts arriving on Cardin Island, they became extremely honest, which surprised Kitano Ichiro. You must know that even after being taught by Virgo so many times, they would hum a few times from time to time when they came back. Why do you seem to be afraid of something today? His Royal Highness, I have chosen the location of the Marine Academy and it is ready to start construction at any time. At this time, Zephyr walked from a distance step by step, came over and gave Akira Yagyu a salute, and then smiled at several people, which made Virgo's face tighten, and then nodded and smiled back. Crocodile next to him seemed to have expected such an expression from Virgo, and grinned. What's wrong with you? Is this purple-haired Uncle strong? Seeing that Virgo obviously gave a slap on the back of his neck, he immediately asked. He had never seen Virgo show this expression before. Very strong. Virgo nodded, and then stopped talking, scratching Kitano Ichiro's ears in a hurry. Advertisement. Okay, take me there. Akira Yagyu's eyes lit up when he heard Zephyr's report. The Lord's mansion could not accommodate the Marine Academy within a kilometer radius. He didn't know the art of construction, and he didn't know where was the most suitable place to build the Marine Academy. To Zephyr, let him choose the location of Marine Academy. Hearing that Akira Yagyu was going to build the Marine Academy, Kitano Ichiro was also interested. He had always heard that Akira Yagyu asked T-Pen to recruit Marine Academy students, but he had never seen what the Marine Academy was like. Following Zephyr, everyone walked for about half an hour and came to a dense forest. Good place. As soon as he arrived at the place, Kitano Ichiro couldn't help but sigh. The forest is on the east of Cardin Island, so don't worry about the attack of the Land of Water. Zephyr has cleared an open space here. There is a small river next to it and a hill behind it. Akira Yagyu has placed more than 30 giant artillery on it, which can be effectively defended, and you can also see the movement of the sea. It is an ideal place to live. Seeing Zephyr's site selection, Akira Yagyu was also a little surprised. Thinking of the haphazardly decorated buildings that he had built for convenience, Akira Yagyu suddenly felt ashamed. Following Zephyr's site selection, Akira Yagyu sank directly into a special building system, and Marine Academy was selected. Marine Academy. A special building, which can be recruited from outside the system after construction. It contains a full range of combat skills and combat skills. It specializes in cultivating marine generals. Within a week of learning, it will be forcibly bound to the host. Generates the desire to betray and cannot go against the will of the host. Building requirements. 3 million taels, Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral or above generals. Following Akira Yagyu's selection, the green phantom in front of Akira Yagyu's eyes quickly solidified. In the blink of an eye, a school with complete facilities appeared around everyone, and they were on the training ground of the school as large as 2 football fields. Around the training ground, whether it is sandbags, firearms, heavy weapons, all are readily available. Is this the Marine Academy? Kitano Ichiro swept around. For some reason, he felt very comfortable standing in Marine Academy. He felt that Akira Yagyu would not refuse any word he said, and even if he committed suicide, he would not have the slightest doubt or retreat. Very good. Inform T-Pen and let him transfer all Marine Academy academies here for study and training. All CP9 members are temporarily serving as Marine Academy instructors, and Zephyr is the chief instructor of Marine Academy, and is solely responsible for everything in Marine Academy. Chapter 62 The Neglected Prestige Mall, Guy Saw, Crane joins. When they woke up in the morning, the people of Hagia City were still cleaning up the sand and dust that had not been cleaned up yesterday, when they found that the streets were full of people at the moment. Isn't this your child? Where are they carrying their luggage in such a hurry? At this moment, a passage was cleared by Marine 5 steps at a time, and the students of the Marine Academy who had been recruited in advance were all marching in an orderly manner with their luggage on their backs. I don't know, I just heard from Mr. Marine that they will be sent to the Marine Academy for intensive training. They can come back once a month, and they can become Marine instructors after graduation. The people who were questioned immediately looked proud and were sent to the Marine Academy, which means that their children were selected, and they will be the leaders of these incomparably powerful Marines in the future. I really envy you, but my children are among them. And my family, But with so many children, does Lord Marine really have so many officers? You don't understand this. Lord has captured the country of the sea. The entire country of the sea is now the territory of Lord. The surrounding people were talking a lot. Because of the blockade of news, they didn't know that their lord had become an enemy of the land of water. Your Highness, do you need to tell the people? Kitano Ichiro looked at the people below and asked in a low voice. It will be released in a week's time. Akira Yagyu was silent for a while, then looked at the children under Marine's protection, and said softly. System, check personal information. Host. Akira Yagyu. Race. Human tiger shark human bloodline. Dao strength. 366. Abilities. Survival in water, 50% speed bonus in water, Conqueror's Haki primary, Observation Haki primary, Armament Haki primary. Skills. 36 Troubled Winds, King's Fist. Marine Maul. 1,600,000 tails. Marine Reputation. 4,600. Marine Special Buildings. Marine Standard Base Building, Marine Academy, Marine Technology Center, Marine Barracks. Advertisement. It's only over 300 Dao strength, There's already so much prestige. Akira Yagyu was a little disappointed when he saw his Dao strength. During this period of time, he only increased by dozens of points after training every day. Suddenly Akira Yagyu glanced at him, and was attracted by the 4,600 reputation points below. The use of reputation was more useful than the silver tails looted from other countries. It was the only way to obtain the Marine General's recruitment order besides quests and lottery. Of course, Marine reputation is the only way to get a recruitment order, and its only use is in exchange for a recruitment order. Help me exchange a Senior Marine General recruitment order and a Senior World Soldier recruitment order. Although he has captured 2 countries and resisted so many attacks by ninjas from the land of water to gain so much prestige, Akira Yagyu has no plans to save the prestige, and directly consumes 2,000 prestige points to exchange for 2 recruitments. Make. Ding. In exchange for success, please use it. Use the Advanced World Recruitment Order. Akira Yagyu nodded. Unlike the Marine General Recruitment Order, the World Recruitment Order looks at the entire pirate world, and can randomly recruit a strong person outside the marine forces in the pirate world. Like before, Crocodile was recruited by Akira Yagyu through a World Recruitment Order. Ding. Consume 1 Advanced World Recruitment Order and start recruiting. Ding. Congratulations to host for successfully recruiting former member of the scientific research team, M. Gaisa Karang. Seeing Guy's name, Akira Yagyu's heart twitched. It's actually this mad scientist. I hope this guy won't create a giant slime like Punk Hazard on Kaden Island. While thinking, Akira Yagyu can't wait again. Use another recruiting order. Ding. Consume 1 high-level Marine General recruitment order and start recruiting. Ding. Congratulations to host for successfully recruiting Marine Vice Admiral and Chief of Staff, Crane. About half an hour later, 2 figures appeared in front of Akira Yagyu. Your Highness. The 2 called out together. Looking at the 2, Akira Yagyu's attribute panel flashed in front of him. Name. M. Gaisa Current. Name. None. Advertisement. Race. Human. Rank. Former Naval Headquarters Scientific Corps Scientist. Dao Strength. 1200. Ability. Gas Fruit. Skills. Gas Gun, Gas Lasso, Void World. Weapons. Castanets. Name. Crane. Title. Great Staff. Race. Human. Rank. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. Dao Strength. 6,800. Abilities. Wash Fruit, Armament Haki, Intermediate, Observation Haki, Intermediate. Skills. Light Wash, Purify, Wash Thoroughly. Weapon. Famous Sword Sand Sea. Guy, you take it to the Marine Technology Center first. They are planning to conduct research on biological giants for alien beasts. If you are there, it should be foolproof. Looking at Gaisa, Akira Yagyu first said that although the alien beasts in this world are huge, they are still a little small compared to sea kings, which are generally hundreds of meters in size. If mass production is added, it is absolutely invincible in this endless sea. Staff Crane, what do you think should be done next with Marine's current strength? After that, Akira Yagyu looked at Crane Vice Admiral. The generals recruited by the recruitment order should have all the information about the masters of the generals who have been recruited before, so Akira Yagyu does not need to introduce them, but directly wants hear from this Marine's chief advisor. His Royal Highness, based on my analysis of our current situation, there are currently 2 plans that need to be provided for your reference. Crane Vice Admiral pondered for a while, and then said immediately after a light moan. Chapter 63 Auto-generated chapter title. The 63rd Batch Recruitment, 106 Generals. Please order first. Planning plan. Akira Yagyu frowned, waiting happily for the Crane Vice Admiral continued. His Royal Highness, the war is the most important thing about heritage and strength. We now have the top technology level, and the top level combat power is enough to protect one side, but we still need to make 2 strengthening changes. Crane Vice Admiral nodded and continued. The first point is our economic ability. Although we have won the country of the sea and the country of roots, our economic strength is still a world apart from the country of water. According to the current strength of the country of water, the army they have. If so, it will definitely exceed 1 million, and the daimyo's army is already equipped with muskets and artillery. Plus, with the words of those ninja clans and Kurigakure, it's like hitting a stone with an egg to face the country of water now. The crane said a lot in one breath, and Akira Yagyu nodded repeatedly. He was indeed the chief staff officer of naval headquarters, and he said the key point in one sentence. Akira Yagyu has always been worried about this. First order. The top powerhouse 897 needs to be recruited by lottery and recruitment orders. It is impossible to rely on those generals. If you really want to open Sengoku with Shueiji in the future, as well as manage the countries and ensure the peace and stability of the countries, you still need the basic arms stationed. The second point is the direction of our development in the future. I wonder if Your Highness has discovered that when such a big thing happened in the country of water, other countries are very calm, as if they are happy to see the country of water like this, so the relationship between the countries in the world is fundamental. It is not as calm as we seem, but in fact there is an undercurrent surging below, and the balance of several countries may be disrupted at any time. The crane paused for a moment, then continued, making Akira Yagyu's face wrinkle. Our primary goal now is the country of water. The country of stars borders Hongzhou Island, and Hongzhou Island is the most powerful country of business and ninja. They have mastered the trade channels of countries all over the world, and every country wants to encroaching on the island country of Hongzhou, but we don't dare, even if we send troops, AFAC, so we don't need to pay attention to the influence of the country of stars on us at all. Advertisement. Then next, we can forget about the development of the northern border of the land of water, annex all the small countries in the east of the land of water, and at the same time help us accumulate more capital to fight against the land of water. After the crane finished speaking, he stopped. Akira Yagyu was also lost in thought, and Kitano Ichiro, who had been frowning, looked at the crane and was shocked. This old woman was able to analyze such a detailed and thorough analysis as soon as she came. The problem of Dan Island and the direction of breakthrough. Staff Crane said it well, it taught me a lesson. System, help me exchange the remaining reputation points for 6 mid-level Marine generals and 100 junior Marine generals. Akira Yagyu nodded, and the words of Vice Admiral Crane, although there was no clear solution, it also inspired Akira Yagyu. Akira Yagyu now understands what to do. With a groan, Akira Yagyu's consciousness sneaked into the Prestige Mall. Ding. The exchange is successful. Use all recruitment orders. Akira Yagyu immediately said that Marine strength had broken down, and it was impossible to wait for the Marine Academy to train suitable generals in a short period of time. Akira Yagyu decided to use the Marine generals recruitment order first. The generals that can be recruited by the junior, intermediate and senior recruiting orders are the same, but the odds are different. If you are lucky enough, even the junior can recruit 3 admirals, but Akira Yagyu has never believed in luck, especially when it comes to because of his own development. He used the advanced recruitment order to recruit directly before. Ding. Consume 6 mid-level Marine generals recruitment tokens and start recruiting. Ding. Congratulations on the successful recruitment of the host Colonel Marine, Schalinger Major Marine, Drake Marine Commodore, Daikin Marine Rear Admiral, Uchimura. Ding. Consume 100 recruitment orders for junior Marine generals and start recruiting. Ding. Congratulations on the successful recruitment of the host Marine Lieutenant Junior Grade, Burnham Open Black Lens Bracket Marine Ensign, Marco Close Black Lens Bracket, Open Black Lens Bracket Lieutenant Colonel Marine, Scheipert Close Black Lens Bracket, Open Black Lens Bracket Colonel Marine, Orangutan. Advertisement. As Akira Yagyu continued to recruit, there was also a constant stream of reports from the Marines. At this moment, the Marine base building seemed to be being watched, and generals dressed in justice were constantly appearing, making Kitano Ichiro, who was guarding here, feel like his heart was about to jump out. Half a day later, all the recruited generals finally came together, 106 people, the courtyard station was full. His Royal Highness, the statistics have been made. Today, in addition to the previous Mr. Geisa and Chief He, there are a total of 106 people, including 3 Marine Rear Admiral, 7 Commodore, 6 Colonel, 5 Lieutenant Colonel, 11 Major, 15 Captain, Lieutenant Junior Grade 21, Ensign 38. Kitano Ichiro read the numbers one after another according to the numbers he had written down in his notebook. He couldn't understand the military ranks of these guys. Except for the Lieutenant Captain who was wearing the cloak of justice, everyone else was all black and white. Kitano Ichiro was dizzy. See Your Highness. When the people below saw Akira Yagyu appear, they all shouted aloud. Each voice was strong and powerful, shaking the entire Marine base. Looking at the white General Marine below, Akira Yagyu nodded with satisfaction. These people will be his capital to compete with the land of water. Just now, while waiting, Akira Yagyu made another big purchase with the remaining 1.6 billion. 4 warships, 2 pacifists, 20,000 marines, plus all kinds of weapons and firearms. Akira Yagyu's last 1.6 billion flowers are not even a fraction left. What should we do now that we have no money? Then we can only continue to maintain world peace. Chapter 64 The Rapidly Expanding Marine. A week later. Akira Yagyu had just finished training, and after going to the bathroom to wash off the fatigue of the day, she sat in the office chair and waited for something. Your Highness, you don't have to be nervous. There are several Rear Admiral leading the team, and Commodore Captain assisting, plus each Marine team is also equipped with a pacifist, there is no problem. Beside him, Crane saw that Akira Yagiyu's heart rate was still a bit fast even though he had taken a shower and changed clothes after training. He immediately understood Akira Yagiyu's worries, chuckled and said slowly. Staff I also understand what you mean, although I have confidence, but these are my family background, it is inevitable that I am a little nervous. Akira Yagiyu grinned, and after Suruchi spoke, the tension that had been tense suddenly relaxed. As he was talking, a Marine rushed into the office with scattered doors, leaving Akira Yagiyu and Suru not talking, and immediately turned his eyes to the Marine. Report to Your Highness. Great staff. The 2 warships led by Uchimura Rear Admiral have set off for the land of origin and Guy has returned. When the Marine came to the office, the Marine stood up straight with his legs together, and saluted and reported loudly. Came back. Akira Yagiyu's eyes lit up, then suppressed the excitement in his heart and nodded lightly. However, as soon as Akira Yagiyu finished speaking, another Marine trotted to the door, then a third, then a fourth. Report, Your Highness, that the 2 warships led by Rear Admiral from Sicily have set off for the land of Wells, and Guy has returned. Report to Your Highness that the 2 warships led by Kizaru Rear Admiral have set off for the country of Yongchuan, and Guy has returned. Reporting to Your Highness, the 2 warships led by Vice Admiral Virgo set off to continue capturing alien beasts and have returned. Reporting, Your Highness, the first alien animal giant experiment has been initially successful. The current body size has increased by 20 times, and the body length is more than 300 meters. Please go to check. Advertisement. The 5 Marines stood at the door, listening to a series of news, each of them trembling with excitement. Good news to come. After hearing that, Crane stood up directly, looked at Akira Yagiyu and said with a light smile. We, go and see, don't know how much they can bring me back. Akira Yagiyu also stood up, waved his hand, and walked out. As soon as he walked out of the door, Akira Yagiyu saw that outside, 20,000 Marines, led by those generals, were waiting for Akira Yagiyu to be inspected. No one spoke, and all looked at Akira Yagiyu, who came out of the office above, with determined eyes. His Royal Highness, according to your original request, video phone bugs have been placed in the cities of the various countries we occupied, and the people of the 5 countries and 9 cities can see you. Next to him, Kitano Ichiro also came over excitedly, holding a video phone bug in his hand, and said excitedly, whether it was the Marine generals who once again conquered 3 countries, or the video phone that allows people to see real-time dynamics insects made him novel. Although he was such an adult, every time Akira Yagiyu could make his calm state of mind immediately excited. At this moment, the people of all the cities in the Kingdom of Origin, the Kingdom of Roots, the Kingdom of Sea, the Kingdom of Wells, and the Kingdom of Swimming Rivers are gathered on the large central square of each city. Around each square, there are several Marines holding the influence phone bug, Akira Yagiyu's every move, as all projected on the wall through the influence phone bug, and is seen by everyone. Send it from the Lord. Wow, I can see it clearly, the Lord is so handsome, and the Marines are so handsome. I heard that they have captured several countries. Yeah, helping the Water Nation conquer so many countries, the Water Nation will not exempt us from this year's taxes. That's right, which countries pay much more in compensation than the taxes we pay here, and they will definitely help us get rid of them. At this moment, even the people of Hygeia City were surprised. It was the first time they saw that Akira Yagiyu could actually make something that made people's shadows cast on the wall. My people, I am the Lord of Kaden, Akira Yagiyu. At the Marine base building, Akira Yagiyu glanced at the dense Marine below, and then faced the worm again. At this time, all the people in the 5 kingdoms and 9 cities held their breath and waited quietly for Akira Yagiyu's next words. Advertisement. The famous names of all countries are cruel and inhumane, and wars are launched. Natural disasters have not yet come, and man-made disasters are imminent. The nobles only care about pleasure, while the people who fish and meat, every time the war is approaching, countless civilians are sent to the battlefield, causing countless families to be destroyed. Control. The seat of the nobles is only owned by the nobles, and has nothing to do with the commoners, have we ever been willing? 0. Ask for flowers. After Akira Yagiyu finished speaking, her tone paused, and the atmosphere became depressed. The originally excited people of Hygeia City were even more silent, and the atmosphere of Hygeia City was full of depression. Not only Hygeia City, but almost all the cities that heard Akira Yagiyu's speech were unprecedentedly depressed. The people clenched their fists one by one, and there was a deep sense of unwillingness in their eyes to vent their feelings. Not reconciled. None of us will be reconciled. Akira Yagiyu's voice sounded again. Every word, every word, every word, let the people vent all their unwillingness through Akira Yagiyu's mouth. How could your highness say such a statement? Hearing Akira Yagiyu's words, Kitano Ichiro was startled, and the hand holding the video phone worm also trembled suddenly. This should definitely not be what the ruler of a country should say. Isn't his highness afraid of those people rebelling? Because I am unwilling, I have taken action. I want to liberate the people who are oppressed by the country of water. I will give you the opportunity to learn. With me, no matter who you are, you can rely on your efforts to become famous in a country. Same treatment. You don't have to wonder if what I'm saying is true or not, because this is what I said, Akira Yagiyu. Akira Yagayu's voice sank at last, and the words were all over, and the people all boiled. How come? The Lord is going to fight against the country of water. The Lord said that he is going to be the enemy of the country of water, so are we also going to be the enemy of the country of water? Who cares? Our children are now students of Lord. Do we have a choice? But being able to follow Lord may really help us live a good life. The people in Hygeia City murmured one by one. Some laughed wryly, some laughed at themselves, but no one complained or hated Akira Yagayu. They were all willing to follow Akira Yagayu to fight against the land of water. Ding. Chapter 65 Krokodilev's Luasha. Although the communication equipment of the water country is not very developed, the remarks made by Akira Yagayu in front of the people of the 5 countries were quickly passed on to the current daimyo. Blue. Crack. Akira Yagayu's long silent phone worm rang again, and just after answering, Shiba C's voice rang immediately. Your Highness, can you hear me? Your Highness. Shiba Hai's voice was more rapid, and when he heard Akira Yagayu connect the phone, he immediately hurriedly shouted on the other end of the phone. What happened? Akira Yagayu frowned and asked in a deep voice. His Royal Highness, it's fine if you are here, please think of a way, because you have recently invaded other countries, and the current daimyo has summoned the Kurigakure 3rd Mizukage to the capital, and all the 983 troops are mobilizing to the east. Ninjas of all ethnic groups are also going there, and it is very likely that they will launch an unprecedented offensive on your side. Shiba C hurriedly reported the information he had just learned to Akira Yagayu. How many troops does the land of water have now? How many ninjas? Akira Yagayu's face sank and asked aloud. The Kingdom of Water plans to mobilize at least 500,000 troops this time. I'm not very clear about the ninjas, but this time it seems that they are ninjas who have assembled almost all the clan forces in the entire Kingdom of Water. Shiba Hai's pale face looked extremely ugly. In his opinion, Akira Yagayu might not be able to resist the attack of the land of water this time. Okay. I know. Akira Yagayu hung up the phone after finishing speaking, and then picked up the property collected from the country of the source, the country of the well, and the country of the swimming river on the table. Congratulations to host for getting wealth. 5.8 million taels. Congratulations to host for getting wealth. 4,900,000 taels. Congratulations to host for getting wealth. 6.300 million taels. Host's current wealth is 17 billion taels. 107 billion. Advertisement. Akira Yagayu pondered. 17 billion seems a lot, but if you buy the military equipment in the Marine Mall, it is still too little. His Royal Highness, there is someone outside who said he is from the land of wind and wants to see you. At this time, the outside worker Pen walked in and reported loudly. The land of wind. Let him in. Akira Yagayu frowned, then quickly stretched out, giving a flat command. As the worker Pen retreated, after a while, a man with a mustache wrapped in a headscarf walked in. Long Zioran, Foreign Minister of the Land of Wind, has seen His Excellency the Lord and heard that His Excellency the Lord is a genius. Cardin Island has developed rapidly under the leadership of His Excellency the Lord, and has captured the surrounding countries in just 2 months. Look, your Lord is indeed a young talent. Long Zioran saw an Akira Yagayu, looked at Akira Yagayu's young face, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes, and then a compliment. Pen frowned. You can't talk about talent. Your Excellency has traveled thousands of miles from the wind to my country, Cardin Island, isn't it just to compliment me? Akira Yagayu looked at the so-called foreign minister of the land of wind in front of him and smiled faintly. What AF G foreign minister, I've never heard of a country that would make the next Kazekage its foreign minister. Luo Sha didn't even know that his disguise had been clearly analyzed by the young man in front of him through observation hockey. Your lord really likes to joke. Hearing Akira Yagayu's words, Luo Sha yi rum, and then chuckled Kaido. Then, its eyes looked around, constantly patrolling, as if looking for something. Cough cough. Looking at the other party's actions, the crane next to him coughed. Although he was very old, the cough was full of vigor and directly drew Luo Sha's attention back. Well, in fact, Your Majesty, this time I come here, I really want to ask Your Excellency some things. Luo Sha reacted and said embarrassedly. Tell me. Akira Yagayu frowned, vaguely guessing a little, looking at the other party and said thoughtfully. Advertisement. I heard that the Lord has a master who can control sand, and I hope to play against him once. Luo Sha's eyes became deep, looking at Akira Yagayu, his face also became a little dignified. For those who can control the sand, his entire Sunagaker is also the third Kazekage who has disappeared and he can use the magnet style to control the sand with the gold and iron contained in the sand. There is actually another one here, which makes him curious about what the other party has. The blood following the limit. No problem, come with me. After hearing the request of the other party, Akira Yagayu got up with such an expression as expected, and walked towards the door with it. Do you agree? Luo Sha was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Akira Yagayu's promise to go so smoothly. Originally, he was thinking about whether to help the young lord and force the master to come out. However, Akira Yagayu had already walked out and did not answer. After a pause, Luo Sha quickly followed. Akira Yagayu did not search or ask, but took the crane and followed Luo to the sand sea made by crocodile before the sand. Unsurprisingly, Crocodile is now training new practicing Daiichiro Kitano here. Kindness. Feeling the arrival of Akira Yagyu and the others, Crocodile turned his head and his eyes fell on Luo. Crocodile, this Mr. Luo Sha wants to fight with you. You should have a discussion with the foreign minister of the country of wind. Akira Yagyu commanded Crocodile. His tone was a little heavier on the cut 1.2. Luo Sha is 4th cage anyway. Akira Yagyu doesn't say so. I'm really afraid that Crocodile will underestimate the enemy and be trapped. Hearing Akira Yagyu's words, Luo Sha's face turned red. After all, he had introduced himself as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. I understand. Who is Crocodile, who has always been a werewolf who dares to think and do? He immediately understood what Akira Yagyu meant, biting his cigarette, with a cruel smile. Mr. Rosa, Crocodile has agreed. You can make mistakes, but you must pay attention to safety. Akira Yagyu turned around and said something immediately. Luo Sha nodded quickly, but had a bad premonition in her heart. She always felt as if she was being targeted. Chapter 66 The Capital of the Desert King. Don't worry, Your Excellency, I will show mercy. Luo Sha just didn't notice Akira Yagyu and Crocodile's small movements, and thought it was to prevent him from hitting too hard. Hey, stop talking nonsense. Not far away, Luo Sha was not yet on the field, and he immediately urged impatiently. Luo Sha also immediately looked at the sand sea in front of him, and couldn't help but feel a joy in his heart. Although he knew that if the opponent could control the sand, the terrain would be very beneficial to the opponent, but for his magnet style, it was like a duck in water. Originally, he had never thought about the idea of fighting against Crocodile on Akira Yagyu's side, but it was only after seeing the golden sand on Kaden Island from a distance when he was on the boat. Luo Sha walked into the sand sea, not daring to get too close to Crocodile. As he walked, he quickly raised his handprints with both hands. The sand and gravel around him seemed to come alive, and quickly circulated around him. Magnet-style yellow sand waves. Just standing still, I saw Luo Sha shouting lowly, and the surrounding sand and gravel quickly condensed, forming a terrifying wave that directly moved towards Croco 5 doll. The first shot was a huge wave more than 10 meters high. Ichiro Kitano suddenly widened his eyes in the distance, and then looked at Akira Yagyu strangely. I don't know where Akira Yagyu got such a strong man, and I heard from His Highness just now that this person seems to be from the land of wind. What? Do people in the land of wind like to travel to the land of water? Ding ding ding, it's interesting. Crocodile bit his cigarette, smiled, and when he made a mistake, a wave of sand also quickly rose in front of him. The yellow sand condensed into a rectangular palm, and slapped it directly toward Luo Sha's sand wall. Boom. After the sand wave collided with the giant hand of yellow sand, there was a muffled sound, the two sides collapsed instantly, and the sand and dust quickly filled the audience. Everyone looked around and found that Luo Sha had disappeared in the same place. Looking closely, in the dust, Luo Sha's figure kept shaking. Wherever he passed, chakra was left, and the sand covered by chakra trembled quickly. Next, layers of sand gold are made from the sand in the glass. Advertisement. Sure enough, as in the information, you can control the sand without a seal. What kind of secret technique is this? While forming the seal, Luo Sha asked Crocodile. When the sand and dust dissipated, a hill of gold dust had condensed on the top of Luo Sha. Gold. Gold. Where did he get it from? Looking at the small golden mountain above Luo Sha's head, Kitano Ichiro's eyes widened immediately. It can be said that his eyes were straight. He had never seen so much gold before, even when he searched the kingdom of the sea before, it was mostly silver. It is rare to see such a large amount of gold. Seeing so much gold, Akira Yagyu frowned. Gold is much more valuable than silver, and this guy's magnetic flux seems to be able to extract the gold inside from the sand. Magnet-style gold dust. Luo Sha gave a low drink, and most of the placer gold on the top of the head was immediately separated and spread around the crocodile. The high-density placer gold forcibly suppressed the yellow sand around the crocodile to suppress the crocodile and then control the sand. Then, the rest of the placer gold quickly flocked to crocodile. Crocodile was startled, glanced at the yellow sand under his feet, and found that the sand was actually being held down. With the denser gold dust, combined with chakra, to block the sand around you, you can't stop my attack now. Luo Sha looked at Crocodile and explained while controlling the golden sands to flow towards Crocodile. That's it. Crocodile nodded, only to see him beckoning forward. Only 100 meters away, the yellow sand that was not covered with gold dust quickly flew towards Crocodile. What? You guy can attract sand so far. Seeing that Crocodile easily attracted sand from 100 meters away, his complexion suddenly changed. As soon as Luo Sha finished speaking, the yellow sand turned into a salon around Crocodile, murmured with the sound of the wind, and then rushed towards the gold dust. The limited placer gold was wiped out, and then, after breaking through the placer gold, the salon continued to flock to Luosha. What? Luo Sha's expression changed suddenly. It was too late to prepare for defensive ninjutsu. Advertisement. Boom. The yellow sand quickly impacted Luo Sha, burying Luo Sha in the blink of an eye. Did that guy from the land of wind lose? Kitano Ichiro was taken aback, feeling a little disappointed. No, look to the right. The crane vice admiral next to him reminded and pointed to the right. What? When was he? I just saw that he was engulfed by that sand. Kitano Ichiro looked around and found that 983 Luo Sha had appeared on Crocodile's right side at some point, and his hand was quickly raising his handprint. Clone technique plus body replacement technique. Akira Yagayu squinted, looked at Luo Sha, and muttered. Yin Cheng Yin has not has. At this time, Luo Sha's ninjutsu has also been prepared. Magnet-style ashed gold needle rain. The golden sand around Luo Sha suddenly turned and condensed into countless golden needles. Under the sunlight, with a dazzling golden light, countless needles rained towards Crocodile. Ah! The overwhelming rain of golden needles flocked to Crocodile one after another. The gold needles condensed by gold dust were not comparable to ordinary sand in terms of hardness and density. When they passed through the dust directly, they could tie Crocodile into a hedgehog. Sandstorms. Sandstorms are more sandstorms. Looking at the dense needles of gold dust, Crocodile's face became a little dignified, but he still shook the cigarette. In this sand sea, he who is capable of sand fruit will not lose. This is him, the capital of the Desert King. Chapter 67. The main purpose of Luo Sha. Seeking the First Order. Two cyclones rose rapidly on both sides of the Crocodile, growing to a height of more than 5 meters in the blink of an eye. Then two cyclones quickly swirled around Crocodile on both sides of Crocodile, with Crocodile as the center, and quickly revolved around him. The two outermost layers brought wind and sand to form a third layer of protection. The moving fine sand hit directly out of Luosha Chakra's control. And the remaining part, although it was lucky to break through the outermost layer, was immediately crushed and knocked down by the cyclone that was rapidly revolving around each other with enormous force. Oops. Luo Sha's face changed. He couldn't see what was inside the spinning sand, but he could feel that his gold needle was broken. In his thoughts, he wanted to continue preparing for ninjutsu, but he found that Crocodile had formed a hurricane. The hurricane formed quickly, with a diameter of dozens of meters in the blink of an eye. Luo Sha looked a little absent-minded. His magnet style couldn't grab the opponent at all. Every time he gathered half of the sand, he would be sucked away by the strong wind, and even the gravel under his feet was like a swamp, and he was quickly leading him to the hurricane. The direction flowed, so frightened that he quickly pulled his body away and kept moving quickly. Magnet-style multiple gold sand shuriken. Consuming a huge amount of chakra, Luo Sha quickly stripped out some gold dust from the hurricane, quickly condensed into a shuriken, and was quickly thrown out by Luo Sha. Deviate from the original follow, and finally merge into the hurricane. Magnet-style gold sand waves. Magnet-style Lulisha. Magnet-style golden sand burial. Luo Sha's figure was in the east of the sand sea, and quickly pulled a longer distance from the hurricane. He also threw out the ninjutsu of the blood and the limit, but they were immediately merged by the hurricane, whether it was in the air or flowing from the ground. Those who attacked, without exception, were pulled in by the gust of wind in the middle. During this time, the hurricane of Crocodile had already stretched to 100 meters, and the entire Cardan Island was affected. Advertisement. Under the continuous ultra-high movement, it is necessary to guard against changes in the sand and soil. It consumes a lot of energy for Luo Sha, whether it is mental energy or physical energy. However, the attacks made are repeatedly frustrated, and Luo Sha's confidence has been hit. Forget it. Looking at the hurricane that could already be described as super huge, Luo shook his head and was about to admit defeat. Crocodile seemed to realize this. The hurricane suddenly moved. Luo Sha wanted to withdraw from the battlefield when she saw this, but the yellow sand behind her turned into countless tentacles, which quickly wrapped around his legs. What? Luo Sha's face changed wildly. Crocodile was clearly controlling the hurricane that was condensed by the yellow sand. How could he still have a means to control the sand under his feet? This guy definitely wasn't using ninjutsu. Intelligence. So I have some doubts. This time I can really directly confirm that the other party is definitely not a ninja, and it has nothing to do with his country of wind. When Luo Sha broke free from the shackles of the sand, the hurricane had already swept up in front of him, engulfing it in an instant, and the wind and sand carried Luo Sha frantically in the hurricane, and then the wind and sand seemed to instantly turn into a giant dragon. The giant dragon formed by the hurricane, with its head soaring into the sky, roared silently in the gust of wind, biting Luo Sha and slammed into the sky, like a dragon entering the abyss, crashing into the sand in the distance. The sand fell violently, and when the hurricane completely disappeared, a small sand dune with a height of more than 10 meters was formed at the position where Sharon had just dived into the sand. I thought you were going to tear down Cardan Island. The wind and sand dissipated, and everyone outside was disheartened at the moment, Kitano Ichiro said to Crocodile with a grin. Next to him, the crane waved his hand gently, washing the fruit and even the soul can be washed, not to mention the dirt. The sand and dust that fell on everyone's body quickly dissipated, and then the crane looked at the sand dune again. Mr. Crocodile, please get that guy out. Through observation hockey, the crane felt that Luo Sha, who was at the bottom of the dune, was in a dilemma at the moment. Advertisement. Crocodile grinned, pulled his hand, and the dune quickly flowed, revealing the Luosha inside in his breath. The crane helped him wash off the sand from his body, ears and nose, and the fresh air was greedily inhaled by Luo Sha, looking like an addicted kunzi. Soon, Luo Sha stood up from the ground and came to Akira Yagayu's side, and then gave Crocodile a deep look. Thank you for saving your life. The powerhouses under the Lord's hand are really powerful. I have seen it. In fact, I came here from so far from the land of wind, and there is actually one more thing. Luo Sha first thanked him, then continued speaking, turning his eyes to the others, and then to Akira Yagyu. No money is good. You just say it. 11. Akira Yagyu's eyes jumped, knowing that the main event was coming, but said with a very calm expression. I heard that your excellency has a batch of advanced weapons. This time I am here on behalf of the land of wind, for this. Luo Sha did not sell any more, and bluntly stated the main purpose of his trip. After speaking, he quickly mobilized chakra, and quickly gathered the gold dust that he had condensed before into a 1-meter diameter gold dust ball, which was estimated to weigh nearly 10 tons. The density of placer gold has not been found. The density of gold is 19.26 per cubic meter. The volume of the sphere equals 4/3 times the cube of the radius. This, just as a greeting gift from our country of wind to your lord. Luo Sha pushed the gold dust in front of Akira Yagyu and said with a chuckle. Chapter 68 The Kingdom of Wind is really rich. Seeing Luo Sha suddenly place such a hand, Akira Yagyu's eyes jumped. Your Excellency, on behalf of the country of wind, came to the country of water to talk about this, which makes me very embarrassed. Besides, we are surrounded by the sea on all sides, and we mainly rely on a few warships to fire guns and fish. Is the country of wind? Is the marine short of ships? Akira Yagyu suppressed the urge to kidnap this guy to make gold for himself and Crocodile, and said lightly. The land of the wind marine. Hearing Akira Yagyu's words, Kitano Ichiro's face immediately flushed red. The land of winds can be said to be the country with the largest area among the 5 great powers. Marine can become an independent country. Fox. Hearing Akira Yagyu's words, Luo Sha secretly turned blue and couldn't help but scolded. Now the whole world knows that you are going to go to war with the country of water, and the country of water has also begun to mobilize troops to attack you. What are you saying now is very embarrassing. The country of water knows that 987 is so embarrassing for you. Your Excellency is joking. Carden Island has a close relationship with the country of water. Of course, the country of the wind knows that, but the country of the wind also wants to have a good relationship with your Excellency, so I have to give it a chance. As far as the price is concerned, the Lord, even if you mention it, the country of the wind will never bargain for our cooperation. Luo Sha said that his face became weird. He couldn't believe that he would say such a thing, but fortunately, when he was talking about the price, he found that Akira Yagyu's eyes brightened. If you say that, it has such a meaning. Akira Yagyu nodded, although he was also disgusted by his behavior, but there was no way. Marine of the landlord's house also had to eat. 30,000 Marines' food, plus the maintenance cost of various equipment and warships, the daily consumption of these alone is no less than 10 million. Akira Yagyu's more than 10 billion seems like a lot, and he doesn't even dare to exchange too many things. For the cost, please refer to the 80 taels per bowl of Yeel ramen. However, before that, I need to have a look at the technology that your Excellency is leading in various countries. Luo Sha changed his words and continued to speak. So, Kitano, you can call CP9 and ask Lucci to come. Akira Yagyu thought about it for a while and said to Ichiro Kitano. Yes, Your Highness. Advertisement. Kitano Ichiro nodded, took out his phone from his arms, and dialed it, followed by the callous imitator Lucci, who made a sound exactly like Lucci. Kacha. Your Highness asked you to come to Shanghai. Got it. What the hell? Facing this scene, Luo Sha's eyes widened, and he stared straight at the snail that could make human voices in the hands of Kitano Ichiro. Not long after, Lucci came running from the Marine Academy. After a few jumps, I came to Akira Yagyu. Your Highness. As soon as he arrived, Lucci saluted Akira Yagyu and stood aside. Is this a summoning beast? Seeing Lucci's appearance and the same sound as the snail just now, Luo Sha pointed at the phone bug in Kitano's hand and asked in a murmur. It's called a phone bug. It's our communication equipment. What, are you interested? Akira Yagyu glanced at the phone bug, then at Luo Sha, and asked with great interest. A little interested. Looking at Akira Yagyu's eyes, Luo Sha suddenly felt as if he had become a fat sheep to be slaughtered AFBC at this moment, but he couldn't help nodding and admitting that if this kind of thing could be obtained, then the speed of information transmission will immediately lead other countries. I don't know this snail, is there any limit? It's a phone bug, it's alive, just like any other small animal, it can be killed. No, I mean this snail, no, it's a phone bug. Are there any restrictions on communication? Of course Luo Sha could see that this was a living snail. He wanted to know if there were any other distance or regional restrictions on the communication of this thing. This was the most important thing to him. If it could only be used in the land of water, then it's useless for him to buy it back. Restrictions. No. Advertisement. Akira Yagyu thought for a while, and replied lightly in Luo Sha's serious eyes. No. Luo Sha was startled and looked at Akira Yagyu in disbelief. Does this thing have no distance limit? In this way, no matter where you are, the information can be notified to the other party as soon as possible. This is an absolute advantage for both war and ninja missions. Then, how much is this? After hesitating for a while, Luo Sha asked worriedly. What is the price? Yagyu was hesitant. After all, He didn't intend to buy this thing, but he didn't expect this guy to take a fancy to the phone bug first. Slowly, Akira Yagyu stretched out a finger. A few hundred tails of phone bugs. If you want 1,000, it shouldn't be too much. 100 million. Isn't that a bit expensive? Seeing Akira Yagyu's gesture, Luo Sha was shocked. He guessed that Akira Yagyu would speak loudly, but he didn't expect it to be so expensive. Huh. 1,000,000. No, I mean 1,000. 10 million. A deal. I want 30. Luo Sha did not wait for Akira Yagyu to finish speaking, and immediately said it bluntly, even afraid that Akira Yagyu would go back on it. Your Excellency really knows the goods. Akira Yagyu sighed. The land of wind is so rich, but thinking of Luo Sha extracting so much gold from the sand just now, it is not surprising. I don't know what good things your lord has. After a pause, after negotiating a deal, Luo Sha continued to ask curiously, did he not forget the heavy arms that Akira Yagyu could carry alone when he attacked other countries in the information? Akira Yagyu didn't speak, but took out a purple-red cantaloupe-like fruit with weird lines on it. If you look at it for the first time, you can see people unconsciously a little scared. Chapter 69, Misfortunes and Winds. This is. Luo Sha was instantly attracted by the strange fruit in Akira Yagyu's hand. He had never heard of, let alone seen, such a strange fruit. Lucci. Akira Yagyu looked at Lucci and called out. Lucci nodded knowingly, and instantly entered the leopard form. This. Luo Sha was stunned, and watched Lucci turn from a man into a leopard-like animal. Luo Na's eyes were as if he had seen a ghost. Tempest kick claw knife. I saw Lucci let out a low voice, with the palm of his right palm facing upwards, he grabbed it ahead of him. The 5 chi burst out from Lucci's 5 fingernails and submerged into the sand. With a loud bang, the sand was blasted out with 5 deep ravines that expanded outwards. Hey, is this? Luo Sha took a sharp breath, and found that Lucci, like crocodile before, had no seal at all when he attacked. Thinking of this, his eyes immediately fell on the devil fruit in Akira Yagyu's hands. Artificial devil fruit can transform part of the body into an animal form and enhance a certain ability of the person who has the ability. Even if an ordinary person eats it, he can crush a boulder with one punch, but it may not match the person who eats it. 100 million, do you want it? Akira Yagyu said indifferently. Akira Yagyu, who had seen Luosha's financial resources, did not intend to be polite to the other party, and said directly. Advertisement. Compared with devil fruit, the enhancement of artificial devil fruit is one-sided, not comprehensive, and even has many defects. In exchange for it through the Marine Mall, as long as 30 million, Pirate World can be sold by Doflamingo for 1. Yi also met Kaido, an obsessive-compulsive patient like Ishin who wanted to form Beast's pirates. Maybe it doesn't match. What if it doesn't? Luo Sha originally heard some heavy breathing, but after hearing that there might be a bad effect later, he suddenly fell into deep thought, but he quickly raised his head and continued to ask. I don't know, you need to figure this out for yourself. Akira Yagyu shook his head. Akira Yagyu is really hard to say what will happen to the artificial devil fruit. I bought it, it's 10 billion, I want 20, but I also want to buy those guns in your hand. Gritting his teeth, Luo Sha took out a scroll from his bosom, stretched it out to be dozens of meters long, beckoning handprints, and a row of 5 layered boxes appeared on it, which was brought by Luo Sha. All the money. No problem. Akira Yagyu looked at so much money, and after confirming that it was right, her eyes widened with laughter. They had swept the treasuries of 3 countries and the wealth of the nobles before they made more than 10 billion. I didn't expect that Luo Sha would just take it with him. 10 billion came, and Akira Yagyu almost laughed out loud. The money represented all those black technologies in the mall. After half a day, Luo Sha can be said to have returned with a full reward. In order to avoid the attention of the country of fire, he sealed everything except the phone bug into the scroll. We'll be eyeing Cardin Island, they must research these weapons as soon as possible. After sending Luo Sha away, Akira Yagyu's face quickly calmed down. His Royal Highness, if you sell those weapons to him like this, will they be used for research? Kitano Ichiro asked in a low voice as he looked at Luo Sha's departing ship. Do we need to stop him? Virgo and Lucci also looked at the sea indifferently, and then asked Akira Yagyu. No, the country of wind suddenly has so many high-strength weapons, which will definitely arouse the jealousy of the country of fire and the country of earth, just to help us attract some attention. Akira Yagyu shook his head. If there were no other benefits, he would not give his whole cards to others to study just for the sake of money. Advertisement. Then what do we do next? Hearing Akira Yagyu's words, the people around were suddenly stunned, and even Suru nodded. Her understanding of the world is still not as good as His Highness, and Kitano Ichiro also took the opportunity to ask. 0. Ask for flowers. Recruit troops and horses, buy ships and load guns. Akira Yagyu looked towards the west, as if he could see the main island of the Land of Water, which is far away from Kaden Island, and said softly. Now that the Water Nation's army of 1 million has assembled, and Kurigakure has stepped in, he must go all out. Really? Can't you attack the Star Country and the Hongzhou Island country? Akira Yagyu then looked at the crane again, and asked with some heartache. The Land of Wind can even spend so much money. As the land of merchants and forbearance, Hongzhou Island controls the flow of trade between countries. If the Hongzhou Island can be defeated, it will definitely be able to make his army change its guns and guns again. It is absolutely not possible now, because it does not affect the interests of other countries, and now only the country of water is hostile to Cardin Island. Acting against the Hongzhou Island country now will immediately lead to the common targeting of all countries, he said. What's more, the Hongzhou Island country has a strong economy, and it is likely to support a lot of ninjas. If there is no absolute certainty to capture it in a very short time, it is very likely that we will face the Hongzhou Island country and the water country at the same time. Pinch. Crane said word by word, in her opinion, this is a risky act. What's more, Akira Yagyu now has more than 20 billion in his hands, which is enough to immediately arm the military force of Kaidan Island. I understand. Akira Yagyu nodded, and after carefully figuring out Crane's scruples, she gave up the idea of attacking Hongzhou Island now. After all, this is not a game, and if you fail, then you will really be doomed. As Crane said, with the 10 billion left by Luo Sha, Akira Yagyu's pockets are bulging, and there are enough things in the Marine Mall to give him the confidence to fight the land of water. Thinking of this, Akira Yagyu once again entered the familiar interface of Marine Mall. Ding. Chapter 70 Exploding Troops, Expanding Troops. The 8th update, please order first. Exchange, Marine Heavy Battleship 50. Ding. The exchange is successful, and the Marine Heavy Battleship 30 is obtained, which consumes 6 billion taels. Redeem, Marine Giant Underwater Attack Submarine 10. Marine Giant Underwater Attack Submarine. Can adjust the air pressure in the cabin. Dive, each submarine launches 2 portable torpedoes and 1 underwater shock bomb at a time, affecting the direction of local ships at sea. Exchange requirements. 400 million taels. Ding. The exchange is successful, and you will get Marine Giant Underwater Attack Submarine 10, which consumes 4 billion taels. Exchange, Pacifist 50. Ding. The exchange is successful, and you get Pacifist 50, which costs 10 billion taels. Marine Barracks has begun to recruit. Recruiting, 987, soldiers 200,000. Ding. Start recruiting. Marine soldiers plus 100,000, consume 1 billion taels, and it is expected to take 20 hours. Akira Yagyu made a series of exchanges, only to feel that the amount of silver taels was rapidly decreasing. However, Akira Yagyu did not stop. At this moment, adding the amount converted from the golden ball left by Luo Sha, 200 million, and deducting the money for buying and selling 20 artificial devil fruits to Luo Sha, he still has 600 million. Exchange. Momo Fruit. Ding. The exchange of Momo Fruit is successful. Before the user of Momo Fruit dies, they will not be able to recruit people with the ability of Momo Fruit. Sure enough, there won't be any obvious bugs. Hearing the system's prompt, and taking another look at the icon that Momo's fruit became gray after being exchanged, Akira Yagyu sighed. Akira Yagyu spent another 200 million to equip the 200,000 Marines to be recruited, and then the remaining 200 million was kept by Akira Yagyu, just in case. Advertisement. Almost in this series of exchanges and exchanges, more than 20 billion silver taels returned to emptiness in the hands of Akira Yagyu. Akira Yagyu sighed just after finishing the exchange, when the sea in front of him suddenly became restless, and then, a huge head several hundred meters wide poked out of the sea, and there was a figure like an ant standing on it, kept beckoning towards Akira Yagyu. Through observation hockey, Akira Yagyu immediately saw that the figure above was Lyle of Marine Research Center. Blue blue blue. Lyle's figure above the huge sea beast's head shook for a while, then took out the phone bug and dialed Akira Yagyu. His Royal Highness. Good news, because of Mr. Geiss's joining, the proficiency in the jontization technique has been greatly enhanced. The 18 alien beasts captured by Virgo Vice Admiral have now successfully completed their jontization. After Lyle finished speaking, more than 10 unparalleled heads popped out from behind and around the giant beast under his feet. Before the bodies of those sea beasts came out, more than 10 heads had already surrounded Cardin Island. Those alien beasts are the existence of spiritual wisdom. They were forced to sign a blood contract with a garbage samurai because they were beaten. I didn't expect these guys to be able to make their reminders dozens of times, and they immediately guessed this. Everything is the credit of the Lord, and they all pay respect to Akira Yagyu. They are not stupid. They understand that this is the boss, and they will serve them well in the future. Are they afraid that there will be no good things? Mom. Monster. The people of Cardin Island near the port or by the sea noticed the figures of the giant beasts around them. Looking at these giant heads one by one, they almost couldn't help fainting. Take it easy. These things are our friends, not monsters. Before he came out, Lyle unexpectedly expected this, and summoned Marine to go to the surrounding seaside to explain, so as to avoid any panic and understand it later. Friend. After hearing Marine's explanation, the people of Cardin Island relaxed, but they still did not dare to approach the beach. Looking at those big guys, many fishermen directly gave up the idea of going out to sea today. Good. Advertisement. Finally heard another good news. Akira Yagyu nodded happily immediately. The head is already hundreds of meters, and the body size should have reached the length of those sea kings in the world of pirates. If it is used to deal with the army of those countries of water, it is more suitable. At this moment, within the country of water, it is not known that Akira Yagyu's military power is rapidly expanding. How is it? Third generation, are your ninjas ready? The current daimyo looked at the third Mizukage sitting in front of him and asked in a deep voice. It's no longer a problem, and I would like to thank Your Excellency Daming for helping us weaken the power of those blood-based boundary families. Now they have all stopped a lot. Third Mizukage closed his eyes and spoke softly. That's not what I'm talking about. You should be able to understand what I want. Now the island of Cardin has become more and more rampant. The country of origin and the country of wells have been lost one after another, and the surrounding vassal countries have begun to disagree with our country of water. The current daimyo snorted coldly and stood up directly from his seat. Every loss will be lost. I understand this. Please rest assured, Your Excellency, Cardin Island. It is absolutely impossible to continue to do evil. When that time comes, we will fully assist Your Excellency's army. Even though his eyes were closed, Third Mizukage seemed to be able to see Daimyo's every move and felt the anger of Daimyo, but still said lightly. It's better to be like this, but I know 1.2. After the 7 people of the ninja swords went to Kaden Island, only 3 people were left to go back. The rise of a new force in the country will not benefit us at all. Kurigakure and my status in the country of water all are likely to be replaced by this Cardin Island. After the current daimyo finished speaking, he turned around and left, leaving Third Mizukage alone, and his figure gradually became blurred. In all the ports in the east and south of the main island of the Land of Water, warships are constantly assembled, and the people do not know what happened, because if the Land of Water wants to go to war with the Land of Fire, which cannot be dealt with, it should be assembled at the port in the west of the island. Even the warriors with many faces in the army didn't know who they were going to fight, but they just saw ninjas appearing from time to time, so they had to face it seriously.